Actually, it will be a presentation.
All right, everybody. The graphics are staying the same because it's Oscars season. Mainly because, I had to find a logo for the Gotham Independent Spirit Awards because we're actually covering it because interesting stuff happened on that. I had to make another sheet on the spreadsheet and whatever. Uh, but yes, I'm Ashley. He's AJ. That's Owen. Somewhere, you know, we're the Brady Bunch or something. So yeah, as you can tell from the title,
See joke from last podcast.
yeah. I mean, it'd be easier if it was four because then it would look more boxy rather than sort of like a weird triangle. Illuminati confirmed. But yeah, so the Gotham Independent Awards got announced. Was it Thursday or Friday? I'm trying to remember.
December 2nd.
Well, before we go into like these, I do just want to point out the thing we always end up having to point out. It's the conversation we always end up having to have. It's getting to the point more where I love doing this. Like when award season starts and we have like Gotham and the Spirit Awards and the Critics Awards, like New York and LA are already out, National Board of Review is already out, all that stuff.
Yep.
But I think I've finally reached a point of becoming desensitized to what the results of those are. Because we always say that, SAG and BAFTA is where it's really going to be like, oh shit, something might have changed.
Sure.
So this is the part of the season where we sit back and we watch stuff like Gotham and New York and LA come out, and everybody's making up their minds very quickly and very drastically. It's like, oh, that means this thing's going to happen now, and oh, this thing apparently is out completely because we're only in the beginning of the critic award phase right now, and the indie awards, which don't really reflect a lot of anything.
Yeah, because like the AFI's 10 films of the year was an interesting list. Being, I've just got it here. We've got Anora, Brutalist, Complete Unknown, Conclave, Doom Part 2, Amelia Perez, Nickel Boys, A Real Pain, Sing Sing, and Wicked.
That one is funny because I can't remember how much we match up exactly, but I know that if you replace a Complete Unknown with a Substance, that was my picture lineup in the video we just did.
Yeah.
I heard there was a weird thing about the Substance didn't count as an American movie, despite the fact that apparently Amelia Perez does. I heard there was some confusion there.
Which is then confusing because if you look at the other things, it's the French foreign nomination. Case in point, when we get to the Globes, I'll mention it again there, but one of the animated films is Latvian's official foreign nomination. So we're going full on international with a lot of these things.
Which, by the way, if you look, and I'm sure it sounds like me and Owen have flow to talk about. But it is funny when you look at awards as they've happened up to this point. Flow seems to be God's gift to animated movies right now, or the animation category. I haven't seen it. Has it been beat yet as far as what we've seen? I think the Wild Robot got like one somewhere.
It's going to be the movie that it's going to be the movie that the GP are going to be super confused about by the time we actually get to nominations morning, and they're going to wonder why the Wild Robot's not like winning everything, and all of a sudden this movie called Flow out of nowhere just starts winning everything without any precedent or anything. But these are the people that actually follow the races. They're going to know that this was always their battle to win since day one. Well, I can't say for sure if it's good or not because my third movie on Friday was Y2K, and I'm watching Flow on Friday.
So, I guess this is maybe getting a little bit ahead, but the thing I kept thinking while looking at these was, and this kind of goes into the same thought process of don't believe these right away and don't immediately jump to your predictions and start changing things around immediately. But while Flo is obviously here and Flo is the one that's like really taking things up right now, you might fall back on the wild robot being the one, but the Academy plays it so safe and animated. I
Yeah.
still think Inside Out's probably the default choice for them. It wouldn't be surprising. I'm not saying it's anything permanent or that I permanently think that. I'm just saying it seems like an animated category they go for the default an awful lot. Even with last year when The Boy and the Heron beat Across the Spider-Verse, that was a surprise to a lot of people, but it was also not a surprise to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But for the most part, like when there was an opening in 2014, and for some reason they landed on Big Hero 6, or what was Toy Story 4's big competition? Was that Klaus's year? Where Klaus was doing really well, but they still defaulted to Toy Story 4.
It's just Toy Story 4 is so far out of my radar because for some reason, well, there's no some reason. It was the time of it came out in the time frame that I didn't watch it, so it wasn't something that I got to see.
Toy Story was up against How to Train Your Dragon 3, I Lost My Body, Klaus, and Missing Link.
I think Klaus had won BAFTA. That was the weird year where was it Missing Link got the Globe and Klaus got BAFTA, and the Academy said, well, we're just gonna go Toy Story 4 because that's what everybody expects.
It won it. Klaus won every single award it was up for at the Annies that year as well.
I was definitely rooting for Missing Link that year for sure.
Yeah, so it's like, say we have a three-way thing going on with Flo and the Wild Robot and Inside Out. Because of years like that, like 2019, I could see them just defaulting to Inside Out. But right now, Flo is getting a lot. So just
I wouldn't discount Memoir of a Snail either.
That'd be interesting.
I would like that. It's a very like passionate choice, but I don't know how much legs it has.
It's so weird the animated conversation has gone this far, but might as well.
We'll dip into it more when we get to the Globes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you take out Moana 2, which is inexplicably there, I mean that's the 5 at the Globes, right?
6.
That's
the other thing we'll get to with the Globes. They decided to go, who needs 5 anymore? We're following BAFTA.
Yeah, they did 6, and they snubbed a lot of people, and we'll get to that as well too.
Yeah, the couple of little bits of Oscar tidbits that I wanted to bring up. We have the long list, I guess, or the qualifying long list, I should say, for VFX, which in alphabetical order is Alien Romulus, Beetlejuice, Better Man, Civil War, Deadpool and Wolverine, Doom Part 2, Furiosa and Mad Max Saga, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, Gladiator Part 2, Godzilla X Kong The New Empire, Here, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Mufasa the Lion King, Quiet Place Day 1, Spaceman, Twisters, and Wicked. Part.
I guess there's a question regarding Alien Romulus in visual effects. You remember when Black Panther's effects looked really, really good for like the whole movie, and then that final fight happened? And then it was like, and then it didn't get nominated for visual effects, and people were like, well, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, everything looked great, but that last fight effect went so out, that might have something to do with it. is Ian Holmes' face going to be the downfall of Alien getting into a category it would otherwise be a shoo-in to get into?
Well, we say that, but look at Star Wars. Star Wars Rogue One still made it in, despite whatever the hell Peter Cushing got burned by in the Waxwork Museum.
That's the thing is I'm the reverse about that. Because like I've kind of defended the Peter Cushing thing for a while. I don't know if it's because we hadn't like seen that a lot at the time Rogue One came out, and that's how I remember it. So you would think we'd be more used to it now, but I don't usually get extremely bent out of shape about stuff like that. But Ian Holmes' face really threw me.
Yeah, it does seem weird that we can make accurate depictions of these people in video games more so than in movies when it's basically the same technology that's used, which is the confusing bit.
Because it's such a weird thing because Romulus looks so good otherwise.
Yeah.
It's just the one aspect.
And then of course the question is Here or Spaceman gonna be the quirky one? Because I don't know whether Better Man would count as the quirky one, considering how CGI heavy the monkey is throughout most of the movie. If anything, that should be there should be Oscars for mocap now. Add it to the stunt list. Mocap.
But it's always apes for some reason. Like it's.
Oh God! Imagine. Hang on. So, I don't think there's any monkey in Deadpool and Wolverine from what I remember. Godzilla Kong's got a monkey. Kingdom of the Apes has got a monkey. Mufasa the Lion King hopefully has a monkey.
Surely.
Oh yeah.
Does Wicked have the flying monkeys, a la Wizard of Oz?
Yeah.
There we go. Monkey Central. Yes. I'm just gonna. If that's the case, and that happens when we get to nominations day, we had the Wall of Mark, however many years back, thanks to bloody Steve Carell and everything. We're just gonna have a wall of random monkeys from this year in movies instead.
Oh my God.
I'm like drawing a blank now. Did we get flying monkeys in Wicked, or did he just mention them?
No, they're totally there.
I don't know why I'm blanking out.
Because you actually see the wings sprout after she reads from the book.
Yeah, yes, okay. So it's coming back to me now.
I've seen it twice now, so it's fine.
It all relates to defying gravity. That's all I remember.
It's that season. We're seeing a lot of fucking movies at once. It's that part of the season. So.
And then we also got we won't go through the full list of the scores and songs that are eligible.
Oh dear God, it's probably like
the two important things of note. One, yes, of course, Diane motherfucking Warren's in there.
Yeah.
And then two, the big one that pissed off some people, but I understand the logic. Dune 2 is disqualified because of having less than 20% original music, because when so much of the score worked from 1, you'd want to carry it over to 2.
Yeah, it's still one of the strongest aspects of the movie, but it makes sense that would happen. I love that the Globes didn't care, apparently.
Yeah, that's the best bit.
Why would they?
Because I think because the Academy's decreed it, even BAFTA have gone, we are also acknowledging that Dune 2 would not be eligible.
I think I saw that, yeah.
So, yeah, it's the... So if... That'll be fascinating. We'll have to rely on the Grammys, which I don't know whether it's eligible there or not. Otherwise, if Dune 2 wins that and the Grammys, if it's in there, because I can't remember the list, we are going to be blind as hell when we go into BAFTA and Oscar. That's all the stuff from that. So, yeah. chronologically, if I find it on my tab. Yeah, so the Gotham Independents. First going through the awards that they won by default. Um, Zendaya got a Spotlight tribute for challenges. Chalamet and Mangold got a Visionary tribute for Complete Unknown. And now, having seen the trailer in a cinema for that, full credit to Chalamet for going full on and actually doing the singing. We aren't going to have a Chadwick Boseman miming, you know, part Rami Malek miming, even though sometimes he didn't. But what?
So call it the fact that Howard's been my roommate for multiple years, and he's like one of the biggest Bob Dylan marks on planet Earth. Call it for the fact that I've actually seen Bob Dylan perform live in Florida many years ago, which I don't even know if AJ even knows that. And the fact that it's been drilled into my head since day one that I heard about Complete Unknown being a thing, I'm super psyched for this movie. And every time I see a trailer for it, it was on September 5th or September 5, depending on how you talk about it. It's September 5, by the way. They never released it, so it's there. But yes, exactly, 5th September. So yeah, it was on there too, because it was default R-rated trailer pack. If you're a projectionist, you know what I'm talking about. Needless to say, it was on there again, and every time I hear that Bob Dylan music coming out of Chalamet's mouth, it's just, I'm super excited for the movie. Everything about it, I am very hyped for.
Like I said, I know Mangold's filmography isn't perfect or anything. I don't want it to sound like I'm suggesting that. But like I was saying at the beginning of the season, if he can, like, as far as telling, you know, true stories goes, at least, if he finds even a little bit of the energy and engagement that Ford versus Ferrari had,
oh yeah,
I feel pretty good about it.
The trailer, this is when you don't have a frame of reference, because obviously, you know, you don't watch trailers, but just the trailer alone, the moments with Edward Norton and Monica Barbaro, I believe is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, long day. And the fact that you've got Elvis, you've got Johnny Cash, you're telling a true story that has icons of music in it. And like, again, so like Norton's playing Pete Seeger. So there's a lot of really cool things about this movie. And I think Mangold's really going to make it work. And I've been saying before, don't sleep on Mangold being nominated for director, because something like a DGA could get him into the race, or something out of nowhere that no one's expecting could possibly happen. But I mean, it just really depends on how much the Academy likes the movie. It seems like it's getting a lot of really good early buzz, but then again, it's barely December right now. So who knows what's going to happen when that movie actually comes out and everyone sees it in a couple weeks.
They just dropped the reviews, and I think it's got like a maybe 70 something.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about that is, we're kind of going on that, but also what people have been saying since the movie was announced. Any more musical biopics are met with the same thing, which is like, oh, we're still doing these, and oh, I'm so tired of these, and then they talk about Walk Hard and shit. There's always been good ones and bad ones.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I get if it's just like, yeah, a lot of these are the same Oscar bait, so why do we keep making them? But there's still good ones that do come along.
Yeah.
So I remember. Do you remember? Most people probably don't at this point, or they'll deny it. Bohemian Rhapsody had a pretty amazing reaction.
Oh yeah.
Until it became cool to hate it, and then suddenly that was the thing. And then that stupid YouTube clip went up of the very heavily edited chair scene, which is 3 seconds out of a movie that's over 2 hours long.
Yeah. To me, that isn't the main criticism. I feel is, especially from what we saw with stuff like Rocket Man and seemingly what Better Man is delivering us as well, there wasn't enough in Bo Rap Horseman, as Ola was called it, that was really looking at the negative side when they were sort of not doing well.
Mm.
If you look at a lot of the ones that I feel have really impacted and still stay with me. Straight Outta Compton shows that a lot. Rocketman does. From what I can tell, maybe Dylan's does. It's hard, it's hard to tell because
Certainly looks like it.
nearly all of it is just, get Tim Chalamet to sing Dylan songs. Um, uh, but
I was just maybe last month or so, in the last couple of months, I randomly got the urge to go on YouTube and watch Lakeith Stanfield's scenes in Straight Outta Compton. And he only has like a handful of scenes, but it still blows my mind how much he fucking sounds like Snoop.
Love that movie.
Then the social justice tribute was for Sing Sing. Franklin Leonard and the Blacklist got an anniversary tribute. That's nice. The ensemble tribute went to the piano lesson.
It's got to win something, apparently.
The performer tribute went to Angelina Jolie for the Maria Callas biopic. And then, what I feel is brilliant, at the Gotham Independent Awards, we have Villeneuve for Doom Part 2, that famous independent film from that independent company Warner Brothers. Like, what?
He did independent movies like 15 years ago.
Yeah. Did Angelina Jolie? Because I don't feel she did.
I'm sure there's some indies
I'm trying to work out whether.
I mean, Taking Lives.
Girl Interrupted would have been independent.
I was gonna go as far back as like Foxfire kind of feels independent.
I thought Taking Lives felt independent.
Yeah.
What was that? What was that dodgy erotic thriller with her and Banderas?
Original Sin.
There it is. That must have been independent because nobody else was like, don't touch that.
Okay, The Impossible was independent.
Yeah.
That's sure. Naomi Watts. That's Naomi Watts, dude.
I know.
she was nominated for it.
Oh, what was the one where she played the South African woman?
What am I thinking of then? Because I'm thinking of something that
Mighty
she did
Heart?
that was Hindi that wasn't The Impossible, something like it though.
Mighty Heart, wasn't that her?
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Are you thinking of Changeling maybe?
Possibly.
I don't know how you confuse it with was it like a disaster type movie like The Impossible, or maybe is this just a title confusion?
It was a disaster movie.
What was the one? No, that was Warner Brothers, wasn't it? The one from what's his name? Wind River.
This is why I'm not talking anymore.
Those Who Wish Me Dead is what you're thinking of.
I classify that as natural disasters.
That disappointing disasters is what I was about to say.
Time to move on, so I don't look like an idiot anymore.
Wait, I'm sure everybody's confused Naomi Watts and Angelina at some point.
I guarantee not, and I wouldn't either.
Well, for the people that stream, isn't it tomorrow that Maria goes up?
I believe so. And then I don't know whether it's internationally, but at least in the UK, I guess because they've given up on trying to get it in the cinemas for Christmas, Red One shows up on Amazon as it was originally supposed to, like 12 months ago. In the first place.
No, I mean it's not the worst thing in the world. It's just a nice turn your brain off movie.
No, it's just amazing to think that they think that would stay in the cinemas for long enough when we get to this time, because there'll always be demand for Die Hard and Home Alone and It's a Wonderful Life and Gremlins to be on at Christmas, so there won't be any room for the new stuff. Which is why I implore you to still watch Get Santa somewhere on streaming, please. Could be worse. It could be Kung Fu Panda Holiday, starring Angelina Jolie.
What is that movie called?
trying to look through, and there's nothing that sort of. There was that weird sort of not Cinderella one called Come Away that came out like during the pandemic, which was weird.
That's when I was not watching movies, so that definitely would be it.
I've completely lost what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Let's move on, because I don't want to feel like an idiot anymore. Go.
So
move.
yeah,
Further.
No Other Land got Best Documentary Feature, which I think has shown up in some of the other lists.
Yeah, it's been here about as much as Flow has as far as like wins so far.
I need to move that bar so I can try and get an idea, because no, it didn't make it in PGA that they revealed in the last day or so. I don't think any of them actually did. No, there wasn't actually any carryovers, which is interesting, because I've seen Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat mentioned a few times as well in some documentary lists. So All We Imagine Is Light got Best International Feature, beating out Green Border, Hartrue's Inside the Lego Cocoon Shell, and Vermiglio. I still find it weird that, Hard True shows up as international feature. Because they just look at it as, was it made in America? No, it's international. And yet when we get to the Oscars, was it made in America? No. Does it have not American? No. It doesn't. It's ineligible. There needs to be more foreign language. Oh, great. Then again, that probably means a lot of British films would just kind of possibly win by default in that respect. Which would be the sad thing, to be fair. The first of hopefully more to come, at least, recognition for Nickel Boys, as Brandon Wilson got the win for breakthrough performance, beating out Lily Kalias from Good One, Ryan Destiny from The Fire Inside, Maisie Stella from My Old Ass, and Isaac Wang from Dee Dee.
I can't say anything. Go ahead, AJ.
I was gonna say that's a pretty stacked category.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say anything about Nickel Boys yet because it's nowhere near me at this point. I know obviously it's gonna get a theatrical run at some point. I hope so. I'll get to see it. But on the Fire Inside, I saw a trailer for it again the other day, so I'm like, okay, hopefully that's coming soon. I really like My Old Ass. I really like Dee Dee. So I like both of those performances too. So got a feeling, like AJ said, since he has seen the movies I haven't, not all of them, but some of them when it comes to this category. So I believe that he's probably correct when we say that Brandon Wilson deserved this win, even though I haven't seen the performance yet, but I'll see it in due time.
Of those, I just haven't seen Nickel Boys or The Fire Inside.
Yeah, because My Old Ass I've heard good things about, especially with
it's good.
The reason why Aubrey Plaza should be recognised and not just Megalopolis for Get to the Club.
I mean, she's barely in My Old Ass, except for maybe a couple scenes. But her voice is more than she is in the actual movie. Because basically she puts the cell phone, her name in her cell phone, Maisie Stella's cell phone, as literally My Old Ass. So it's like you can call someone from another time, apparently, in this world.
You could basically say Aubrey Plaza bookends the movie, more or less.
That is absolutely correct statement without giving anything away.
Which is really interesting since it was basically advertised as her movie. Yep. But
so she's basically Isabella Rossellini in Conquest.
Not quite that little amount of screen time, but
a little bit more screen time.
It's bookendy. It's like when the dagger is done, she's like, I am now walking out the room. I'm going to slam the door because the sound guy is on point. Like,
By that way of thinking, yes, but no at this time.
His Three Daughters getting best screenplay over Between the Temples, Evil Does Not Exist, Femme, and Janet Planet. Damn it.
I can acknowledge 2 of those if you want to do that real quick.
Yeah, feel free.
His Three Daughters is very good. I was kind of surprised how much by all accounts, when you look at everything involved, I should have known that I would really like His Three Daughters, but I did not know that I would that as much as I did. Where it's basically like a play, more or less, with mainly just the 3 of them, with side characters coming out every now and then. I get if there was like one problem I had with it, there's a character that's unseen for most of the movie, and I was like, oh, this is like what they do in plays, where it's like there's a character that's mentioned that's basically in it, but we never actually see that person, and it's almost like a psychiatrist at the end of Psycho kind of moment, where it's like, oh, we didn't really need all this. But it's really powerful and really I don't know if Azael Jacobs was writing from like real experience or what, but it feels very real, especially when you've witnessed situations like this and people in situations like this. So and the performances are insane. I think my favorite of the cast is Olsen, but they're all just a perfect trio of an ensemble. And I saw Janet Planet. And yes, I cannot hear that title in my head without singing it in the tune of
Damn it, Janet.
The only thing I can really say about it is, you know how I've been in several places with indie movies. When I was kind of younger, I was really cynical towards indie movies. And it's like, you know how sometimes you watch an indie movie and it's almost like you can hear the director saying, no, it needs to look more indie. It's kind of like that. You have like, long takes where the camera doesn't move and somebody's just talking philosophically, and then kids watch adults be eccentric and weird for the sake of being eccentric and weird, and we're seeing it from a kid's perspective. It's like every indie checklist.
Yeah, I know when Ray plays an indie video game on Twitch, the meme that he always does is indie game symbolism, and I feel that also carries through into indie films as well.
And I was at a place where I was cynical about it. And it's like, that would make me hate an indie movie. But now I'm kind of at a place where like I can acknowledge that, but I still think I like the movie anyway. So it's another thing where there's just enough authenticity. And any movie that drops the Clarissa Explains It All theme in 2024 because it's set in 1991, I'm good with that.
Well, I'll forget this because obviously I forget things, but you gave me the Iggy that I can mention this right now. You're talking about using the Clarissa theme. One of the things that I liked greatly about Night Bitch is they used Weird Al's Dare to Be Stupid for a video montage, and it is freaking amazing. I love it so much. Oh my god. I was sitting in my seat singing and dancing and everything, and there was no one around me that knew what that song was. It was just wonderful.
I figure when we get to... I also saw Dee Dee and In the Summers. I'm assuming those will probably be more prominent when we get to the Spirit Awards.
I'll wrap these two together by considering the winners. So, supporting performance went to Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing, beating out Yura Borislav for Adora, Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain, Daniel Deadboy for Piano Lesson, Brian Tyree Henry for Fire Inside, Brigitte Lundy Payne for I Saw the TV Glow, Natasha Lyonne for His Three Daughters, Katie O'Brien for Love Lies Bleeding, Guy Pearce for Brutalist, and Adam Pearson for A Different Man.
That's a great lineup for the most part.
And then Domingo getting lead performance for Sing Sing
as well. Yeah.
beating out Pamela Anderson for Last Showgirl, Adrian Brody for Brutalist, Marianne Jean-Baptiste for Hard Truths, Nicole Kidman for Baby Girl, Keith Kupferer for Ghostlight, Mikey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore for Substance, Saoirse Ronan for The Outrun, and Justice Smith for I Saw the TV Glow. So,
just as an open letter to Indie Awards and the LA critics, we can stop this combining categories bullshit anytime now.
It's very stupid. No one wins.
I was gonna say, to my understanding, it's for the benefit of like non-binary actors.
mm-hmm.
I don't know. We haven't nominated any non-binary actors since we started this shit.
I don't think so.
So I don't.
Probably not going to happen this year either. So
it's such a fucking mess, and it's like it keeps people from being awarded that probably should be. That's like they're doing the opposite of what they're trying to do.
Am I right? With the LA Film Critics Association, they have done the same as well, but they announced 2 winners anyway.
I don't know what the fuck that was. Because it was four people in leading, 4 people in supporting. All 4 in leading were women, and they were 2 winners and 2 runners up, I guess. And then supporting was all 4 dudes. And so there's no mixing up here.
You get a participation trophy?
I don't know what the hell that was. It doesn't.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm out of words. I don't want it to sound like the deal I'm making here is like, one gender was just in one place and one was in another. It's the idea of it's just so much cleaner with actor, actress, supporting actress. and you award the people. Everybody that should be awarded gets a chance to be. I don't know why you're, like I said, in this effort to be more like, oh, let's try to reward this in a grander way. And it's like, no, you're pulling it in. You're awarding less people. It doesn't, I don't know. It's annoying.
Prestigious if you're one of the ones selected because you had to beat both your sex and the sex that is opposite of yours.
It's not very fun.
No, definitely not.
It might be more. It might be like, oh shit, I beat. Like when who was it? Like I think it was like the London Critics or something. Threw Waltz in Bastards into like with all the leading actors, and he still won.
How the hell did you just pick that out of my head?
Because that's like
the first thing that comes to my mind. I was like, Waltz is so good, his supporting performance beat all the Best Actor nominees, so screw it.
And I feel like I remember an argument back in the day that some people had him in leading in Bastards. He's not leading in Bastards.
Definitely not.
I don't know.
Arguably, the only lead character in that is Shoshana.
Yeah.
Yeah, Waltz has 3 scenes in Bastards before the climax, before the last chapter.
Yep.
I don't know.
And this is the reason why Waltz doesn't get nominated anymore, because no one would have a chance if he did.
I mean, he's also in weird shit now. I mean, he's gonna be in Frankenstein. That's exciting.
That is true.
Don't get me started. I was looking up I can't remember what I was looking up yesterday. Hang on. Let me try and remember what the name of the film is. Yeah, there it is.
What?
Bloody old guy. From the guy that brought us bloody Con Air, at least directing, is now doing whatever the hell old guy is with Lucy Liu, Christoph Waltz, and Cooper Hoffman.
Yeah.
What happened to him? What happened? The heel?
I just hope Wikipedia keeps listing Walton Frankenstein as Dr. Pretorius. I also keep seeing things that contradict that, but I really hope it's true because that's amazing.
And then, of course, he's also in. Of course, he's following up Frankenstein with Dracula: A Love Tale, where he's playing Priest. Judas Priest? Maybe. It might make it more interesting. Because it's a Luc Besson film, so, prepare for Frenchness.
People who are watching us for the first time tonight are going to be furious with how much we're jumping around, but
I am aware that this is put in the background for certain people backstage in Full Sail University, maybe. So I'm catering to those people. As in, was putting dead air out for people to just listen because they just listen to podcasts 24/7. I have had word from that confirmed. So yeah, breakthrough director at the Gothams went to Vera Drew for The People's Joker, beating out Chuchi Terati for Girls Will Be Girls, Inia Donaldson for Good One, Alessandra Lacarazza and Mardi Fleifel for To a Land Unknown. We'll be talking more about Vera Drew probably when we get to Spirits as well, because she's a name that crops up a fair few times there.
I was trying to remember, Owen, when I was explaining The People's Joker to you, were we on or off air?
We were definitely. We have had this conversation over the phone. I don't know if we've had this conversation on live yet.
It's a very hard movie to explain. But
that might be why we weren't on air.
Yeah.
You could explain it to me without having to do anything different.
Because obviously my brother's like the really huge Batman fan. I was trying to explain it to him at Thanksgiving, and it took me like almost 20 minutes.
Good God.
I mean, it's a very cool and interesting idea, but you kind of have to see it play out to really like get it, I guess. But yeah, it's wild. And I totally get how it got pulled from TIFF for rights reasons. Like I was telling you, it's basically Logorama with the Batman IP.
Which sounds incredible. If you don't remember Logorama, look it up.
I mean, it was
watch, trust me.
A lot of it was I really admire the idea. But I think the reason it wasn't really for me was that at least a few of the people involved in it have a background with like Tim and Eric. And while I like Tim and Eric like individually, their show specifically is a humor that I just don't know what that is, but I know a lot of people take to it, and you kind of get that. I think that vibe kind of comes through in the humor in The People's Joker also. It's like Tim and Eric vibes. So if that's your thing, then
I mean, I thought The People's Joker is the guy that always runs for bloody Japanese president that just is the Joker in all his campaign videos. A la Arthur Fleck, Joker. For those of you not having visuals, I did the old air quotes for Joker because that is by law how it has to be done now, apparently. Thanks, Todd. Ramel Ross getting director for Nickel Boys, beating out Payal Kapadia for All Imaginers Light, Sean Baker for Anora, Guang Hu for Black Dog, and Shane Scroenbun for I Saw the TV Glow.
Okay, so I know I said at the start of this, don't immediately change your predictions around just because of what these early ones say, especially Indie Awards or Critics Awards. But and you know, I what the Globes did honestly doesn't even really concern me about this. I do feel like once I heard the first person thing about Nickel Boys, I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then Nickel Boys is also getting a lot of love in cinematography in these other awards. So I think Ramel Ross might become a thing. But the only problem is directors are looking pretty packed these days, so it's really hard to tell what's going to happen. But if I had to take one thing, just one thing away from the results we've gotten so far, it's that I want to keep my eye on Ramel Ross a lot more than I was. We mentioned him in the last video, but I ended up not going for him because I couldn't let Coralie go, which
No reason to.
we'll see.
To some
We'll get
extent,
there, don't
we're
worry.
falling into the trap once again of the surname doesn't have a letter in the first half of the alphabet. That's what the field's looking like right now.
But it is funny that I kept dismissing Nickel Boys throughout most of the season because I was like, it's probably just another, throwaway historical movie. And it sounds like it's very unique, actually. So I'm very curious to see what it is exactly.
And then Best Picture with Nickel Boys, Challengers, Baby Girl, and Nora all losing out to a different man. Give Adam Pearson his goddamn flowers.
Tell me about it.
I was gonna say Challengers is my favorite movie of the year personally, but I am not mad at that at all.
Not one bit.
I was very happy to see that.
We'll get there. We got more to talk about.
By the way, just in case anybody doesn't get where my expectations are, anything and everything that has happened to Challengers so far in this season has been a total surprise to me, despite it being my favorite movie of the year. I'd written it off completely as, well, it'll be my favorite movie of the year, but I'll never hear about it during award season. So just anything that's happened up to this point is just like a very pleasant surprise. Like I'm still not thinking anything's going to happen outside of like score and like editing would be cool, but my expectations aren't going very far with Challengers. Just pointing that out now, just in case people thought I was gonna jump the gun or anything, because it's my favorite movie of the year.
Sticking with independent stuff, we'll switch over now to nomination reactions and discussion with the Independent Spirits, the 40th. How did we get that far? Look where we go. Look where we come, boy. Look at it.
They have erected that tent 40 times. Or about to be 40 times.
Yeah. So then, first briefly running through the TV stuff, because some of this stuff I don't get. But best ensemble cast goes to How to Die Alone. Best non-scripted or documentary series, the nominees are Erased, World War II's Heroes of Color, and Photographer, which are both the Nat Geo representatives. Hollywood Black on MGM Plus. That exists. Ren Fair on HBO and Social Studies on FX. In breakthrough performance, we have Jessica Gunning for Baby Reindeer, Diara Kirkpatrick for Diara from Detroit, Joe Locke for Agatha All Along, Megan Stott for Penelope, and Hua Zandu for The Sympathizer.
It's a played out and tired comment to make already at this point, but I'll go ahead and be the one that does it, I guess. Because when I think indie, my mind goes to Marvel property, Agatha All Along.
Oh, hang on. No, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a little bit as well, because for supporting for supporting performance, we have Tadanobu Asano for Shogun, Enrico Colatoni for English teacher, Betty Gilpin for Three Women, Chloe Goydry for Under the Bridge, Moika Hoshi for Shogun, Stephanie Koenig for English teacher, Patti LuPone for Agatha All Along, Nava Mao for Baby Reindeer, Ruth Negga for Presumed Innocent, and Brian T for Expats.
So are these, because there's another pretty big property coming up, if I remember correctly, in the
Yes.
other casting category. Um, we may have asked this before the past few times they've done this, but do the TV categories at the Independent Spirit Awards have anything to do with independent like filmmaking? Or are they just TV categories in general?
I mean, Disney is sort of like tougher to do when it is involving Marvel property, and then even on the other side, because we get to lead performance. Because we have Brian Jordan Alvarez for English Teacher, Richard Gadd for Baby Reindeer, Lily Gladstone for Under the Bridge, Catherine Hahn for Agatha All Along, and then I'm so conflicted because Kristen Milotti is in there for Penguin, and I'm like, yes, she's getting recognition. She did a great performance, but then again, I'm thinking, how the hell is this independent? That was the one I was more focused in on, completely forgetting that Agatha All Along was there. Even though it's in three of them. But yeah, we also have Julianne Moore for Mary and George, Hiroyuki Sanada for Shogun, Anna Sawai for Shogun, Andrew Scott for Ripley, and Julio Torres for Phantasmus.
It is nice to see Julio Torres here at the Spirit Awards, like in many ways. That's exciting, at least.
And then for new scripted series itself, we have Baby Reindeer, Diara from Detroit, English Teacher, Phantasmus, and Shogun, which is part one of Emma Stone is going to win an award this season because she's producing half the movies in the bloody list. It feels like. Because she's producing this. Because of course she is.
I mean, if she's the reason this stuff got made, yeah, somebody should probably
Yeah.
give her something. If she's like the reason we have a real pain and I saw the TV glow, give her everything for all I care.
So then on the film stuff, His Three Daughters is getting the Altman Award for Best Ensemble. Then The True Fiction has Julian Brave, Noise Cat, and Emily Cassie for Sugarcane, Carla Gutierrez for Frida, and Rachel Elizabeth Seed for A Photographic Memory. The Producers Award, the nominees are Alex Coco, Sarah Winshaw, and Zoe Worth. And then in the Someone to Watch Award, we have Nicola Kalia for Griffin in Summer, Sarah Freeland for Familiar Touch, and Pham Pham for Inside the Yellow Cocoon Shell. And then from here, we'll be able to talk a little bit more, at least about some of the things. So the Cassavetes Award, we have Big Boys, Ghostlight, Girls Will Be Girls, Jazzy, and The People's Joker.
I saw two of those. We talked about the People's Joker, and I saw Ghostlight, which is this nice little movie. It's interesting because apparently the father, mother, and daughter in it are father, mother, and daughter in real life. And it's just kind of this. What's interesting about it is it sets itself up where it's the dad that like finds the theater company and is going through, the whole family's going through a tragedy, and then he finds this company and they start putting on Romeo and Juliet. But there's this other plot thread going on about what tragedy they're going through, and the way the movie like reveals itself as it goes is actually really effective. And I was surprised that's like, I don't know why I'm surprised, because these movies are like, getting nominations and everything, but sometimes it's like I'll read like a plot synopsis and it'll be like, I think I know what this movie is, but it still can get you if it's emotionally effective enough. And so those three characters, especially, and Dolly De Leon is in it as well. She's the Juliet in this Romeo and Juliet, and yes, it is kind of a plot point that she's as old as she is playing Juliet. But yeah, there's something charming and tragic about that movie, so it's nice to see something like that here. Now that we're no longer in the phase of when like Weinstein ruled these and was bringing in all his totally not independent movies in, and movies like this, like Ghostlight, and them were getting shut out. It's nice that we're kind of back in this territory, even though, we still have Agatha All Along and the Penguin.
I mean, not to try and tar too much of John Cassavetes' career, but I feel stuff with heartbreak just feels very Cassavetes
Yeah.
to some extent. That was his modus operandi.
By the way, it seems to be tradition at the Spirit Awards to raise the budget for what counts as the Cassavetes Award. Has it gone up anymore?
Let me just double check. Yeah, no. Ever since last year, when they changed it from 500,000 to 1,000,000, it's consistent. They haven't upped it to 1.5 yet. Stress the word yet.
That's the in time, yeah.
Then so the other stuff for international film, we have. Trying to work how I do this. The two easier ones, because Black Dog represents China and Hard Truth represents the UK. Then we have All We Imagine as Light representing France, India, Netherlands, and Luxembourg. Flow representing Latvia, France, and Belgium. And then Green Border, which represents Poland, France, Czech Republic, and Belgium. So apparently we like France and Belgium. Multiple nods. Is this what? Well, do you want to discuss a bit on Flow here, AJ?
Well, the thing about it is, I've been saying, through no fault of any of the movies, I've just had an emotional disconnect from animated movies for a long time now that I can't quite explain. But every now and then one breaks through. And yeah, Flow is the one that's like kind of the unique one of the unique ones of the year. I'm assuming the snail one also is pretty unique, if I had to guess.
It is.
The key thing is it's stop motion, so if you do the whole where you can only have one type of art, it's literally going to be a bloodbath between that and Wallace and Gromit this year, I guess, for who is the stop motion nomination.
And it is definitely refreshing to see an animated movie with animals that act like animals. Like I'm assuming everybody knows by now there's like no dialogue. And it's literally just they get flooded out of their habitat and then move on. And that's all the movie is. And so it's like it has like an adventure sort of vibe, but it almost feels like, I won't say quite like documentary footage, because it's like they seem to be a bit more sentient than like they act like animals, but they're also all very much individual characters also. And so there's like a nice middle ground there where it feels like you're watching real animals, but there's still this sort of engaging thing about them as individual characters that, yeah, I mean, I guess, real animals will be capable of that too. But
Robot Dreams just started the trend. That and Wild Robot, and now Flow with very little to no dialogue at all.
So that's it is interesting that technically the animals aren't talking in the Wild Robot. It's her like translating them, I guess. Yeah. So that's interesting. But yeah, I made my controversial thoughts on the Wild Robot known. But yeah, so like, yeah, there's just this sort of simplicity to Flow that's pretty appealing. So, And I'm pretty sure Owen you'll take to it also, if I had to guess. So, yeah.
For the next category, we can at least ask Owen about a few of the things. So in
Yes.
editing, we have Jazzy.
Oh my god, I've almost got all of them.
Editing, we have Jazzy, The Apprentice, Night Bitch, September 5, and Dee Dee.
Honestly, Jazzy is the outlier for me because it's the only one I haven't seen. And I have seen. It's been a while since I've seen two of them. Literally saw one last night and saw one the Friday previous. Getting ahead of ourselves, and given the circumstances, not throwing politics in this at all, and I'll be the last one to ever mention it. But I'm very happy to see Love for the Apprentice as a movie. It's very deserved performances, some of the best of the year, and it's good time to be Sebastian Stan, and it should be.
Look, I don't think it's saying too much politically to say. I don't think you have to worry too much about seeming political when you talk about The Apprentice, because that movie's kind of a Rorschach test of a movie.
It's like the conversation I had with somebody the other day was, who is this made for? Because fans are going to be like, nah, and foes are going to be like, nah. But if you take the time and watch it for what it is, you're going to see some solid performances that I'm very happy to finally see getting some recognition, especially Jeremy Strong. Oh my God. Easily one of the best supporting performances of the year, without question. And you're welcome, by the way, when we get to the Globes in a few minutes. Night Bitch is fun. Night Bitch is really fun. I was not expecting what it was. It's a very interesting movie. It takes a lot of weird twists in it. Amy Adams is fantastic in it. Like I said, I mentioned before, I love the fact that Dare to Be Stupid by Weird Al Yankovic is a scene in the movie, and it makes me very happy to say that, and I loved every freaking second of it. Dee Dee is solid. I really love Dee Dee a lot. And anything that Dee Dee gets moving forward, 100% agree with. September 5. Go ahead.
I was just going to throw in, I was a little older than the characters in Dee Dee in 2008.
Right.
But still, I had some horrible flashbacks watching Dee Dee.
I can say the same thing about Y2K, but that's, of course, obvious.
There were moments where Dee Dee, I mean, there is, like, halfway through Dee Dee, it basically just becomes mid-90s. Jonah Hill's probably a little pissed.
I can see that.
But as far as like authenticity goes, some of that, a lot of Dee Dee is appropriately uncomfortable.
Oh yeah. Speaking of uncomfortable, September 5. I watched it last night. Its wide release, I believe, is the middle of January. It's got a limited release later this month. First off, it's really, really solid. One of the shows that I remember loving absolutely on television was Sports Night. And I get that kind of Sports Night feel to it because I think it's probably because in the back of my mind, it's the sports aspect. And the performances are fantastic. I mean, I'll tell you right now that in another year, Peter Sarsgaard would be in the conversation because he is phenomenal. John Magaro is phenomenal. It is just a really well done movie that just clicks the second it starts, and you are in from the moment that 90 minutes starts all the way to the end. And there are so many great twists and turns, and I like how it's shot in the grainy style of 1972. I like the Peter Jennings stuff too. That's great as well. So it's just like, I really like how September 5 is being told. And when I saw the Paramount logo last night, I was like, wait a minute. And then I saw all the various different film companies like, wait a minute, we are getting it. So that's what's happening. Because a lot of people were thinking that the secret movie this week was going to be September 5. And it was. Just like a lot of people are thinking that it's a very good possibility it could be Baby Girl for next Monday, which is another reason why we're not doing Monday shows right now, because I'm doing the secret movies, because you never know what you may get. But I can't say anything about Jazzy, but I can say something about the other 4 nominees, and it's weird to say that at the Spirit Awards of all things. It really is, honestly. It makes me feel great, and it makes me think I need to see Jazzy somehow. I don't know how. Come to a theater, please, like for a day. I'll go see it. I like everything that's nominated in one way, shape, or form. Some great performances that will probably get forgotten because this is such a big year that if this is the flowers that it gets is editing of all things, I'm all aboard for this, 100%. So if you get a chance to see Night Bitch and it's out in theaters now, September 5 is going to be a little bit later down the line. I'm sure if you're willing to do something I'm not in that stream, Dee Dee and The Apprentice are available right now, so you can check those out too. But yeah, there's some really great performances that not enough people saw, but luckily enough people saw to nominate. So yeah, great editing category for sure.
And then for cinematography, we have Din Hui Hung for Inside the Yellow Cocoon Shell, Jomo Frey for Nickel Boys, Mario von Holtzwolf for Janet, Planet, Damn It, Juan Pablo Ramirez for La Cocina, and Rena Yang for The Fire Inside.
No one would get that reference, but it's funny to me. So that's all that matters.
Yeah, like I was saying, Janet Planet looks like an indie movie. There's
just the movie poster looks indie to me. So,
well, you know what's really funny is there's a lot of like shots, like when the camera's just still and you're seeing like one landscape or whatever, or the way people are framed or something. The one shot that stood out to me before, I wasn't even thinking about the fact that it was nominated here for this. But there's one shot where Will Patton is having a migraine and Julia Nicholson is taking him tea. And the way the camera stays in one place in the room but follows her, there's just something about the flow of what that looks like that's really satisfying. But that's, yeah, otherwise it's like, yeah, this is an indie movie with indie shots. There's a lot of far away shots with things happening like way in the distance, which is interesting. But that's the most I can say that stands out.
Then for documentary feature, we have Gaucho Gaucho, Hummingbirds, No Other Land, Patrice the Movie, and soundtrack to a Coup d'etat. I don't think we've caught any of them yet, have we?
I don't have comment yet. Yeah. So.
My theater doesn't generally get documentaries fairly often.
For breakthrough performance, they have Isaac Krasner for Big Boys, Katie O'Brien for Love Lies Bleeding, Mason Alexander Park for National Anthem, Renee Perez Jola for In the Summers, and Maisie Stella for My Old Ass.
I do really like the dad in the Summers, who that is. Mm-hmm. That's another one where it's like it's clearly autobiographical, so it's gonna feel really real. It's very they straight up took the structure of Moonlight all the way down to the Roman numeral chapter titles, and different kids playing them as they get older. But it is like it's more of like a slice of like Moonlight kind of had like a clear sort of thread as far as like, the way Chiron grew up and kind of became a different person with each era of his life. This is just like slice of life stuff that's feels real, and that's really its only purpose, and it serves that purpose. So it is interesting that it won Sundance when you look at some of the other stuff that was there, like A Real Pain, for instance. You could say it's an inspired choice to win Sundance. It wouldn't have been my choice with A Real Pain there, but it's engaging for as, maybe simple as it seems, but I think that's a good thing about it. So, yeah.
So then we get to.
Oh, before, since it wasn't mentioned yet, any love that Love Lies Bleeding gets, I'm all about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic
We
movie.
get to AJ being angry at the categories again.
Yes.
So for supporting performance, we have Yura Borisov for Honora, Joan Chen for Dee Dee, Kieran Culkin for Real Pain, Daniel Deadweiler for Piano Lesson, Carol Kane for Between the Temples, Karen Karagleen for Honora, Kani Kusuruti for Girls Will Be Girls, Bridget Lundy Payne for I Saw the TV Glow, Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing, and Adam Pearson for A Different Man. Yes!
Carol
Wow.
Kane, thank you.
Well, I have 3 comments to make here. Karen Culkin's leading.
Yeah, 1,000,000% leading.
Carol Kane is leading.
100% leading.
And Bridget Lundy Payne should be winning everything. And she unfortunately won't go past this.
Yeah, but it's that whole pitting male against female situation, because Adam Pearson should be winning this too.
I really loved Pearson's performance. I would still pick Culkin.
Between the two, yeah, Culkin's definitely the answer.
But Pearson is definitely like top 5 nomination worthy for sure.
Thing is, knowing what Adam's really like as a person from all the wrestling stuff that I've seen from him, the way sort of his character is in it is like, it's like, how is this the same person?
Yeah, well, I will say I'm not sure what I was expecting from his performance, but lovable, arrogant douchebag wasn't what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's such a fun movie to watch in a theater with the reactions of everyone surrounding.
But I will go like to the ends of the earth saying Bridget Lundy Payne should be like winning every supporting actress thing. And I hate that category is always so barren, and this is probably the last time we're gonna see her. That is very annoying.
I was going to say the same thing about a supporting actress performance I enjoy very much, but apparently the Globes doesn't think that way. We'll get there. Again, you're welcome.
Then in leading, we have Amy Adams for Night Bitch, Ryan Destiny for Fire Inside, Common Domingo for Sing Sing, Keith Kupferer for Ghostlight, Mikey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore for Substance, Hunter Schafer for Cuckoo, Justice Smith for I Saw the TV Glow, June Squibb for Thelma, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice.
This feels
Is
like
Hunter non-binary?
Not exactly sure.
That's the only one that I'm clarifying. Do we have our first non-binary candidate?
Well, while you're looking into that, I would like to talk about Hunter Schafer because I only just recently saw Cuckoo.
Yes, I want to hear what you thought of it.
Okay. Owen, do you remember when I saw the TV Glow before I did?
Correct.
And you seemed confused. Like you had said, like you weren't quite sure if you knew exactly what was going on, and you weren't quite sure how you felt about it at the time, like when you first came out.
I just said it was like an Are You Afraid of the Dark episode.
But there was like this air of
Pete and Pete, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
There was this air that you had said like you didn't really even know what was happening and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe Cuckoo as well.
I was gonna say, I saw the TV Glow connected with me right away. Cuckoo was the movie. I was like, what the fuck is this?
No, Cuckoo is great because it has the opposite effect of most other movies. The trailer gave enough to you to get what's going on, and then when you saw the movie and you saw the context, what was actually in the trailer, like, that's not what that was about. Okay, I'm just going to completely just wipe everything that I know, and I'm just going to sit back and just enjoy the ride. And I did it many times this past year.
Well, I guess I should go ahead and bring up that everybody that frequents here knows of my vomit phobia.
Yes.
Where
it's in the trailer.
Yeah. I don't think my confusion has anything to do with the fact that I had 6
Yep.
vomit scenes to dodge, and vomit is a plot point.
Yep. Yes, it is.
But I still think I was able to grasp enough of what was happening, but still, it was like, I don't know. She's a very inspired nomination. What do they go by? Hunter Schafer?
According to Wikipedia, which of course anybody can put stuff in Wikipedia, still works, and it even works better now. It says Hunter Schafer is an American actress and model.
I mean,
She made her acting debut playing a transgender high school student.
looking further down in the personal life section, the reason why I wasn't sure is because the last few years, she sort of didn't want to commit because she used the title of MX, which basically is supposed to be gender neutral.
The Demi
But
Lovato
yeah,
stuff.
in
Right on.
2024, she would like to talk about her trans identity less, as she'd moved on from the most difficult parts of her transition and just wanted to, quote, be a girl. When Rolling Stone asked her about being considered a transgender activist, her reply was, "No, I'm just a tranny who's famous." However, thanks to Brian in the chat, which I'll get to once we finish discussing this and the Golden Globe, so we can get through a fair bit of that in between. Your pick, AJ, is actually non-binary in Brigitte Lundy Payne.
That's right. Yeah, that is correct.
Mhm.
They are. I forgot about that. That's true.
Okay, well, still give them all the award. Then give them just many acting awards, whatever
Yes.
whatever category it says it is, as long as it's supporting. Because we don't need any more categories.
I don't know. Too much of that.
And then the final two. Well, sorry, I say final two. The debut ones. For first screenplay, we have The Feeling That the Time for Doing Something Has Passed, Janet, Planet, Damn It, Good One, Problemista,
Gotta
and
put it
Delia.
over it.
Yeah, I've
Your
seen all
last
5
chance. Talk about this.
I've seen all 5 of those, and Problemista is one of my favorite movies of the year. There is a review for it on this channel as well. One of the only things that got reviewed this year that's a new release. So the feeling that I had to write this down. I had the list of stuff I watched this year next to me. The feeling that the time for doing something has passed. Try to imagine somebody made the quirky indie comedy like, think about a quirky indie comedy. Like, think about like Mike Mills and what Gerwig used to do. Maybe a little bit of Bombach. Now imagine the quirky indie comedy version of Nymphomaniac.
Nights and Weekends?
No, weirder.
Secretary?
Much weirder.
Secretary?
Yeah, we're getting much closer with Secretary.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know how I feel about this movie. I almost want to say, think quirky indie comedy version of Nymphomaniac. No further comment. Because this director, who is also the star of the movie, she also made a short film called Bad at Dancing. And while they're not the same character name, I feel like the character she plays in this is also the character from Bad at Dancing. And Bad at Dancing was basically her showing this excruciatingly awkward sexual content, I guess you could say is what it is. Yeah.
Have you looked at the Wikipedia page
For
the feeling that time for doing something has passed?
I don't believe so.
the literal picture, giving away pretty much credence to exactly what you're saying right now, is dude just sitting there with his legs crossed, with his arm like me whenever I'm getting bored with the show. Credits. Needless to say, if you know, you know. And facing him is a female that is topless, and you're seeing her back.
Yeah, that's a
He
scene.
looks very disgusted at what he's seeing, and that is the literal picture that is on the Wikipedia page.
That is the poster. That
Yes.
is the theatrical release poster.
Correct.
That is basically what half of the movie is. Actually, no, probably 3/4 of the movie is what you're looking at right there, in various different forms with various different dudes. It, Janet Planet, and In the Summers are all told in chapters. And both Janet Planet and this one, with the long title, is the chapter titles are people's names as they come in and out of their lives. So this and Janet Planet had like the same structure. So
that's very intriguing, yet unnerving in many ways.
So just thought I'd throw out there that that's what that movie is. And she's a very interesting director. She's got a very clear vision.
Just
She's got a very clear style. We'll say.
I'm just... Because part of me is feeling like I'm going to shorten it to The Feeling and whatever. Shout out to the band, by the way. It feels like it's got the episodic nature of Janet Planet, but then also the what the fuckness of Kinds of Kindness.
What little I still know about Kinds of Kindness, because I still keep forgetting to watch it, is I got a big reminder now with the glow, so we'll get there.
Yeah, we do. Let's go.
But just what from very little I know about Kinds of Kindness, I feel like actually just with the Lanthimos connection alone, when you look at stuff like Dogtooth, I could probably imagine that's pretty close.
It does feel that quirky enough, yeah. Then for first feature, we have Dee Dee, In the Summers, Janet, Planet, Damn It, The Piano Lesson, and Problemista, which, again, let's mention, Problemista, produced by Emma Stone. Dear Lord. Are we just going to have the Emma Stone Award where it's like, which of the 5 films she's done this year is the best? Because she's exec or producer on Kinds of Kindness as well, isn't she?
So I could rattle off 3 movies her name is on as a producer this year that I put in my top 10.
Yeah.
So she's doing something very right. We already know the story that she's the one that had to talk Kieran Culkin into doing A Real Pain. Otherwise, A Real Pain wouldn't even exist. That Jesse Eisenberg said if Emma Stone had not convinced Kieran Culkin to be in that movie would not exist.
Then to screenplay itself, a surprise recognition here for Heretic. Glad to see that get in here.
That's cool.
Along with A Real Pain, My Old Ass, A Different Man, and I Saw the TV Glow. Good list. Damn good list.
What a fuck. I mean, I think My Old Ass is like good, but with the other 4 there, that's incredible. I love that.
I don't have any
wait.
spot getting nominated.
Well, hold on. I'm not in love with Heretic either, but it blows my mind so much that it's there at all. I'm lumping it in with how incredible it is. The first half of Heretic is incredible. The first half of it is. But I love the love those others are getting.
Mm-hmm. Then for Best Director, we have Ali Abbasi for Apprentice, Sean Baker for Honora, Bradley Cooper for Brutalist, Alonso Ruiz Palacios for La Cocina, and Jane Schoenbrunn for I Saw the TV Glow.
This could be a really good night. Really, really good night for I Saw the TV Glow. It really could.
I think it's just going to be happy with its nominations, which sucks, but
It could be.
on this Corbett Corbet debate, I watched the announcement for these and they said Corbet. I might try to get used to saying that. It's gonna be really hard. I hate mispronouncing names, but I've said Corbett since Funny Games came out.
That's true.
Just as long as it isn't women are talking. It's that much of a mess.
Its limited release is the 20th, and I don't know when it goes wide.
Probably early January or something.
That's my guess. It'll probably won't be until next month that I get to finally see it. I don't know. Who knows? I get surprised all the time, so who knows?
No, we were saying how funny it would be for the secret movie to be dropping a 4-hour movie with an intermission on unsuspecting people.
Your secret movie this year is going to be the longest movie of the year. There will be an intermission. What is this movie? Why am I going?
I vaguely remember when. Oh, I'd have to. Let me quickly try and get the list up of them if I can find them. But when they did, well, what the equivalent is, because it's the same. Same brand. Odeon being AMC, right? That's the secret stuff.
I thought Odeon was Regal, but I could be wrong.
It might. I can't remember. All I remember is I think
there's mystery movie, secret movie, and screen unseen. Depend on what company you're looking at.
I want to say that the early 2016, January 4th. The screen unseen that it was over here mysteriously was like 30 to 40 minutes earlier, which led everybody to go, okay, so it's The Revenant then. So, again, because of the length of the thing, because they changed the airing time, I just feel that if all of a sudden the secret one suddenly moves like half an hour to an hour earlier for you, Owen, it would be like, well, it's definitely The Brutalist, because they don't want people getting out too late, because if it's, I guess 3 hours 45 minutes, unless... No, because it's a 3 hour 30-minute film, but you also add the 15-minute interval to it, I think.
More than that.
I love how we jest about dropping a movie with this runtime on an unsuspecting audience, let alone that it seems to be very thematically heavy, too.
Yeah.
Just the trailer alone. I mean, the runtime for Monday's movie is supposed to be about 2:11, and there's like some wiggle room. So it's possible. It's very probable it's Baby Girl. It could be Better Man. Some people are thinking it's Nosferatu, and I'm like, no, that's not a thing. I mean, they could throw out a Shot in the Dark and be like a complete unknown, or it can be something. We know it's rated R. We know it's over 2 hours. That's all we know. That's the only rules. And other theater chains are getting a PG-13 movie the same week that we're not getting. Which would be like Nickel Boys, Fire Inside, things like that.
Yeah, I was just thinking another comparison of dropping The Brutalist on a secret movie audience would be like last year if you said, "Hi, unsuspecting audience, are you here for a fun night at the movies? We're going to show you The Zone of Interest twice in a row."
Jesus. How about no, Basil? Hey, honestly, after throwing Gladiator 2 at us a couple weeks ago, all bets are off on what that movie could possibly be. Chances are it's going to be something that's going to be important, though.
And then for feature film, a pretty strong list as well. Anora, I Saw the TV Glow, Nickel Boys, Sing Sing, and The Substance.
I'm not happy about Not Enough Love for the Substance. Honestly, it should be in here a lot more. Very happy about I Saw the TV Glow. Very happy about Sing Sing. And going back to the last category, yeah, Ali Abbasi getting nominated makes me happy too, honestly. It really does, especially with who else could got nominated. So, but still, it's a good category for feature, honestly, overall.
Yeah, because we've talked about it's really the case of the Spirit Awards and the Globes. Basically falls under the rule that we always attribute to BAFTA too, which is it's good for you to get in,
Visibility,
but it's not some death knell if you're not here.
Right.
Because the Spirit Awards have always been weird about balancing what gets what. Like, remember how good Room did in 2015, but if you go back to the Spirit Awards, Brie Larson's the only nomination for it here.
Right.
That kind of shit happens all the time at the Spirit Awards. So it's like, it's great if you're here, but if you're not here, it really doesn't make much of a difference.
Sure.
Plus, you have the whole thing of His Three Daughters wasn't going to get anywhere else because it's got the Altman Award.
Right.
Because it would have been nice if, like, Olsen got in, but with the Altman Award, you can't do that.
So to briefly run through some of the chat, so then it's not just going to be all one giant block at the end. Josie says, hey team, been reading some good Christmas themed books lately, 3 of which include Time of the Child by Noel Williams, Angel Tree by Daphne Brande Grab, and The Special Guest by Lee Allen, all of which are excellent. And the new watches since the last stream, Hot Lead and Cold Feet, Hudson Hawk, Trapped in Paradise, The White Dove, Welcome or No Trespassing, Pale Rider, The Hot Pickers or Green Gold, Above the Law, Western Soda. Thoughts on any of them if you've seen them? I mean, Pale Rider's pretty strong. And I feel Hudson Hawk isn't as bad as people made it out 25 years ago.
I haven't revisited it, but the one time I watched it, I hated it.
Okay.
But that might be a rewatch in the future to see now, because I was probably still in junior high at the time, so I'm sure my outlooks have differed.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, the first one that jumps out to me to comment on is Hot Lead and Cold Feet, because I remember watching that and thinking, why didn't Don Knotts play more villains? This is actually interesting. He's still like the same bumbling character. He's just a villain, if I remember correctly. Sounded like there were a few westerns in there, at least. I'm assuming she got on kind of a western kick at some point.
Seems like it, yeah. Josie
I don't
says,
really,
oh, go ahead.
I don't really have any memory of Pale Rider. It's like that was at that point where a lot of the Eastwood westerns were starting to blend together.
Yeah. I mean, to some extent, I think it was the last one that he did before Unforgiven, like 5 years later. Because there was that sort of 2 or 3 year gap when, what was it, Sudden Impact and Deadpool were like 86 and 88-ish, I think.
That sounds close, yeah.
So it says, so happy Substances Rising. Sorry guys, especially to AJ, but I'm happy for Honora and Yura Borisov getting recognition. Also happy for A Real Pain, adding and noting to you, AJ, lately I've been thinking about what it'd be like if the Real Pain tour guide group went through the Land of Oz. Which I'd like to acknowledge A Real Pain being put on the trailers for Conclave despite using the word shit. So technically we had a 12A trailer, even though it isn't.
That trailer has been noticeably a Red Band trailer since day one for some odd reason. Okay. It felt so out of place in a lot of movies because you knew what the words were because you saw the Red Band trailer. Then you watch a PG-13 movie, you see the trailer again, you know what was being skipped. and it drive you insane because that's what happened to me every single time I saw Real Pain's trailer.
They got shit out, but none of the other swears. So I guess it
She-
must have been the PG-13 one that we saw.
So she was talking about the tour in A Real Pain going through Oz.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of the scene where Kieran Culkin berates the tour guide brutally, and it's like, I guess technically the tour guide of Oz is Glinda. Do we get to see Kieran Culkin go off on Glinda? He would when it gets to the end and she's like, "Oh, you had the power to go home all along," he would go the fuck off on her.
He'd try and break the fourth wall and go, "Pete was right," like, or something like that. Like,
he's gonna kick Nessa Rose off the side of a mountain.
I was gonna say there was some way to transition into Wicked here. I just wasn't quite sure where the path was.
I also want to see Jesse and Kieran's characters hanging out with Jesse and Celine from the Before trilogy. Josie adds.
I don't think you'd want a third and fourth wheel, Jesse and Celine. That'd be too.
Bry's last 2000 movies to catch up on were Something's Gotta Give, Devil Wears Prada, Gangs of New York, Pieces of April, which Bry says it's surprising to think that it's a Thanksgiving movie. And My Big Fat Greek Wedding and all of its sequels.
Dear God, my movie career at Regal and watching movies like thanks you from that time frame to remind me of these movies, Brian. Heck, for that matter, when I worked at the video store.
Joe says I saw Flow on Sunday with my mom and absolutely loved it. One of my faves of the year.
Yeah, I'm watching it this Friday.
Finally got around to seeing I Saw TV Glow. I thought it was an incredibly thought-provoking examination of how those who are inhibited from expressing themselves cling to media as a means of escape and comfort. Josie also mentioning, as you did, AJ, one nomination I loved is Keith Cooper for's recognition for Ghostlight, one of my favourite films and criminally underrated. And Bry's finally got round to his Best Picture ranking of 2002. So in reverse order, we have The Hours, Chicago, Pianist, Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, and Gangs of New York as the best.
That's interesting.
Not what I'd go with, but I mean, to each their own. Chicago's not high.
I don't have beef with any of those movies, but it's not a particularly strong lineup.
No.
Josie with some Hudson Hawk trivia. Willis actually receives a story credit, which is his only attempt at screenwriting. Even though there were frequent on-set script rewrites as a result of Willis throwing ideas around. Despite the late hours of filming as well as the odd location for the Brooklyn Bridge chase sequence, hundreds of New Yorkers just strolled the walkway in order to get a glimpse of the action, as well as Willis. Willis then later appeared on the local news to thank everyone for their interest, cooperation, and above all, patience. In the bar, Bruce Willis talks about reindeer goat cheese pizza, which of course is a nod to Last Boy Scout the same year. What a weird thing that was going to carry through. James Coburn plays George Kaplan, which is obviously a nod to North by Northwest. When Mark Kermode met Richard E. Grant, Kermode told Grant he was one of the very few people who liked Hudson Hawk. Grant responded, "It was a stinking pile of steaming hot donkey droppings and you were an idiot." Richard, yes. Give him the flowers. Yes. Can we get him to host the BAFTAs again, please? Because yes.
That's just the greatest thing I've ever heard.
That just feels like it's proof that his character in Withnail and I is basically just him. Because that just feels something like Withnail would actually say. Speaking of Conclave, Isabella Rossellini was originally cast as Anna Baragli. When the movie was delayed because of the scheduling issues, that's when it was recast with Mariska Dempmas. Had to leave after a few days of shooting due to back problems, which then meant that Andy McDowell came in instead. Dean and Jerry, the security guards at the auction house, are presumably named after Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis.
Makes sense.
A few bits of above the law trivia. The pictures in the opening credits, including the one of baby Nico, are real Steven Seagal baby pictures. But does the baby have its eyebrow up for no reason? And no, I'm not talking Dwayne. Henry Silva broke Steven Seagal's nose in the final fight scene. Seagal had to be rushed to the hospital, but was back at work the next day, as of having stayed up all night icing it. Andrew Davis wrote and directed it after being fired during pre-production of Running Man. Not a bad follow-up. Seagal chose the film from a pile of scripts that had been saved for Clint Eastwood. God, imagine what Above the Law would have been with Clint. My word. It was rewritten to focus on Seagal's actual backstory.
Did I ever tell my Above the Law story?
Oh, my word.
Definitely not.
No. Popcorn.
Oh, it's very brief. I watched it once. Maybe a couple years passed. Completely forgot I'd seen it and watched it again thinking it was the first time. And it was about an hour in. I can't remember what it was, but something sparked familiarity. It's like, I've seen this movie. I saw this movie like 2 years ago. Over like an hour in.
So the fun addendum to that story is I almost remembered something else, but now it's gone.
So it was rewritten to focus on Seagal's actual backstory, but many of the stories have never actually been confirmed. He's literally Dewey Cox. He's a man of mystery.
Blue hell is this the second time we've talked about Walk Hard in this podcast indirectly?
That's not enough.
The third time we brought up singing John C. Reilly because Chicago just got brought up. So
call me Mr. Self.
Let's do it. And speaking of John C. Yeah, this movie appears in Step Brothers.
Okay.
Where they bond while watching the scene where bloodied Seagal is being beaten in the chair.
That sounds logical.
So as I say, whether that's a nod to him being a thug in the bar fight scene is kind of brilliant. Josie says favorite Steven Seagal film. Ooh.
Under Siege by far.
But I'm split between 1 and 2. I kind of don't mind either.
I was literally just about to make the joke. Under Siege by far. Second place would probably be Under Siege 2.
No, I think that Eco Warrior one where it's like Seagal would never be an Eco Warrior. That's the best. That's like the guilty pleasure style one. I think that's the one with Michael Caine as well, when it's like the 505 minutes is practically that bit in Superman 4 where it's like no nukes. Like
I want to say Michael Caine ends up getting thrown into a vat of oil or something, and that's his death.
Still better than Jaws: The Revenge.
Speaking of death, I feel like I remember Marked for Death being fine. Like that's the one with like the Jamaican gang or something.
Oh, don't get reminded about that bloody song that Steven Seagal did when he was like, it's a bacon sandwich, man. Like, oh my god, how can you do that, Stephen? In honor of Flo, favorite cinematic cat. Ooh.
The very first one that jumped to mind was Llewyn Davis's cat.
nothing that really sort of. I mean, technically Puss in Boots, I guess. But only really sort of the Shrek 2 version. I feel the more that we found out about the backstory, the more it was like, oh, okay. He's average. Oh, and regarding I Saw the TV Globe, both Justice Smith and Bridget Lundy Page's birthdays are a day apart from each other on the August and the 9th and 10th, respectively, for Justice and Bridget.
That's interesting.
Oh, hang on. We got some real pain trivia. We got some good stuff. First time a narrative feature's been allowed to shoot on location at an actual concentration camp. In Warsaw, Benji and David eat the famous Polish soup called żurek, made with sourdough and a slightly sour taste, often eaten with bread and eggs, and in Polish homes typically served at Easter. At one point, Benji asks David if he remembers the bushwhackers while doing an exaggerated strut down the street. Yes. I need to watch this movie now, just for that alone. Like, yeah! I'm going to go out the cinema and just do that, and nobody's going to have a fucking clue.
I'm the only one in the theater that popped for that reference. No one understood what it was. And I'm like, when they started doing the bushwhacker dance, I was like, yes, let's go, Luke and Butch, let's go.
Look, if it goes well for him at the awards, a la Paul Walter Hauser with AEW, get Kieran Culkin on Saturday night's main event. Or one of them. If we're getting 4 a year, like, do it. Oh, so I saw the TV Glow trivia. Films produced by Dave McCary, who directed Brigsby Bear. Oh wow! Oh god, Brigsby Bear was a trip. After I remember seeing the film was also about a character's obsession with a TV show that featured a moon-face villain. Mr. Melancholy is a reference to the Smashing Pumpkins. Oh no. Damn you, Billy Baron Corbin. Favorite of Mangold's films pre-Walk the Line? Ooh.
Probably Girl Interrupted or Copland.
Yeah, I always feel Copland is like... I mean, it's harsh because there's like a lot of people in Jackie Brown and whatever. But I feel like, in terms of what it was trying to do, Copland, it felt like very Glengarry Glen Ross. And it's like, let's get as many people as we can. But they're massive. And we'll just put them in one film. For something that was, you know, probably just like your standard sort of blockbuster thing rather than like a huge draw and whatever.
Did you say pre Walk the Line?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have an answer to that. I guess by proxy, I'd have to say Identity.
Nice.
Yeah, because that wasn't too bad either.
But after Walk the Line, you've got Ford versus Ferrari and 310 to Yuma.
So I've just now been made aware of Kate and Leopold.
Mm-hmm.
A guy that accidentally pulls his great-great-grandfather for a time portal. Is this the opposite version of New York Winter's Tale?
Mangold has the most diverse filmography this side of Ang Lee.
Technically a co-writer as well on Oliver and Company, so yes. Yes. I'll miss the Mr. Melancholy movie character thing. Because it's Christmas season, I did my annual watch of Jingle All the Way. Which director would you like to see do a Turbo Man movie? Ooh.
Cameron. Jordan Peele.
Full on serious angle. Okay. Then again,
why
it probably
Peele?
will be 3 hours.
I just want to see Peele do it.
Wow. I'd love to see a horrifying version of Turbo Man.
Just as long as it doesn't turn on to the freaking whack universe we have now with like the Winnie the Pooh horror movies and all those wonderful Disney
In honor of
creations
what's
that are no
coming
longer
out
Disney anymore because they're fair use now.
in honor of what's coming out for you guys on Christmas Day and New Year's Day for us, let's have a Power Man from Robert Eggers, because dear Lord, that'd go crazy. uh,
Yeah.
I'll put
December 27th, pray for me when it comes to the theater because it's going to be a long ass day.
I'll put the pin in there in terms of stuff because we've got through a fair bit, but I will let other people talk about the Globes. Because, yes, we have too many bloody categories again because they're adding more categories, god damn it.
Of course, you have to talk about stupid TV again.
Yeah. And again, we, get to do more recognition for the bear. Case in point.
And duh, Penguin, too.
For supporting actress, we have Liza Colon-Zayas for The Bear.
I'm taking a nap. Bye.
I'm Binder for Hacks, Dakota Fanning for Ripley, Jessica Gunning for Baby Reindeer, Alison Janney for Diplomat, and Callie Rice for True Detective Night Country. Why don't they just call it True Detective Series 4? Best Supporting Actor has Tadanobu Asano for Shogun, Javier Bardem. I thought your ears would pick up for that.
A little bit.
For Monsters, the Mendez brothers story. Harrison Ford for Shrinking, Jack Lowden for Slow Horses, Diego Luna for La Maquina, and Eben Moss Baccarat for Dubber. Then for miniseries and TV film in the actress category, we have Kate Blanchett for Disclaimer, Jodie Foster for True Detective Night Country, Kristen Milotti for Penguin, Sophie Vergara for Griselda, Naomi Watts for Feud, Capote versus the Swans, and Kate Winslet for The Regime.
I could have sworn Griselda and Feud, Capote versus the Swans were like 2 years ago.
It kind of feels like that, yeah. Let's be honest. And then in the actor category, we have Colin Farrell for Penguin, Richard Gadd for Baby Reindeer, Kevin Kline for Disclaimer, Cooper Cott for Monsters, as Eric Menendez. So apparently Lyle, you shit. Ewan McGregor for Gentleman in Moscow, and Andrew Scott for Ripley.
Again, I remember when Ewan McGregor was making the press junket rounds for A Gentleman in Moscow. Could have sworn that was like a year or two ago.
Yeah. We'll get to it when we actually talk about the critic stuff next week or whatever. Probably. But I'm still confused that Squid Game is getting recognised even though I don't think anybody's seen the new episodes yet. I don't think they press screened them, otherwise the hell? In the musical comedy category, for actress we have Kristen Bell for Nobody Wants This. There might be a joke there. Quinta Brunson for Abbott Elementary. Ayo Edebiri for The Bear. Selena Gomez for Only Murders in the Building. Catherine Hahn for Agatha All Along, that independent film. And Jean Smart for Hacks. I swear she only was on SNL to remind everybody that series still exists.
Take the universal backlash.
Internationally, I think we have to wait until 2027 for Series 3 of Hacks to actually show up here. Which says a fair bit. And then for actor, we have Adam Brody for Nobody Wants This. Ted Danson for Man on the Inside. We'll get to him. Steve Martin for Only Murders in the Building. Jason Segel for Shrinking. Martin Short for Only Murders in the Building. And Jeremy Allen White for Dubber. And then in the drama category, for actress, we have Kathy Bates for Matlock. Emma Darcy for House of the Dragon. Maya Erskine for Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Keira Knightley for Black Doves. Kerry Russell for Diplomat. And Anna Sawai for Shogun. And then in the actors list, we have Donald Glover for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Jake Gyllenhaal for Presumed Innocent, Gary Oldman for Slow Horses, Eddie Redmayne for Day of the Jackal, Hiroyuki Sanada for Shogun, and Billy Bob Thornton for Landman. Aha! Fighter of the Sky Man. Aha! Or something. I don't know. I might as well mention it here because, God, he could walk away with 2 awards. Ted Danson is going to be the Carol Burnett recipient this year.
Heck yeah.
We now know.
Did I hear correctly before they announced the nominees? They said that those were going to be at some separate ceremony, like the honorary Oscars do. There's going to be like some dinner or something.
I didn't.
Sounds logical.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
So I finally got psyched about one of these. See Ted Danson get something for his phenomenal career. Has there ever been a point where Ted Danson was working and he didn't have a hit show going?
That's fair.
It's hard to tell. Yeah, it sounds.
I also have a comment about the stand-up specials. Interestingly enough,
Oh yeah,
because one of them was released. One of them was released this morning, and
again,
I immediately had.
How is it qualified when it? I mean, I'm guessing the one that released this morning, considering the news story that I saw, is the Jamie Foxx one, right?
Well, this is the comment I was gonna make. I guess I can make it now since it's the first one listed.
Yeah.
This seems like a really big deal that he made a Netflix special to talk about what happened to him. Am I out of the loop, or did nobody know about this special until it was nominated for this Globe?
It didn't show up in the Critics' Choice, so yes.
I didn't hear a thing about this until the Globe announcements. And then it was released today. Was it intended to be, like, dropped suddenly, or what?
I'm trying to see if there's any.
Did the Globes blow the spot? I was very surprised by that.
I mean, yeah, because it didn't really get that much reviewed either, as well. But
because it's mostly, even though it's technically a stand-up special, most of it is pretty serious.
Yeah,
like he'll break into impressions every now and then, and that's pretty much what the comedy of it is. Everything else is him telling the story of what happened and how his family reacted, and then his recovery and his rehab and all that. That's most of it is that.
Yeah, it's more sort of like a serious thing, but with. Well, to be honest, we know how bloody the Globes deal with comedy musical in a lot of things.
And
so
there
it
are
feels like what Fox has done is basically added humor to a TED Talk.
So there are a couple of humorous moments where he calls out the people that were accusing him of being a clone. So...
but yeah, so that, along with the other 2 Netflix entries being Adam Sandler's Love You and Ali Wong's Single Lady, are going up against the HBO Max triple header of Nikki Glazer for Someday You'll Die, Seth Meyers' Dadman Walking, and Rami Youssef's More Feelings. So nobody else did comedy specials. Just Netflix and HBO. That's it.
Sandler's is... I watched it when it first released. Sandler's is interesting. It's very weird. That's the one that Josh Safdie directed.
Oh, and that's why it's weird.
They do a very Safdie Brothers opening, and then they keep having like technical difficulties, but you can't tell what's staged and what's real. Sandler seems like he's in a bad mood, but I think that's a character he was playing for this special. And it has a really weird vibe to it, which I think is the purpose. But the whole time I didn't know how to feel about it.
what's the name of that bloody the HBO weird thing? The guy that was with Emma Stone in whatever that series was last year.
Nathan Fielder.
Yeah, it feels sort of like Adam Sandler went, I like the Nathan Fielder stuff, let's adapt it into a stand up show. To some extent. And then the big three, if you want to call it that, for limited series, anthology series, or TV movie, we have no TV movies. We have Baby Reindeer, Disclaimer, Monsters, The Lyle and Eric Menendez Story, The Penguin, Ripley, and True Detective Night Country. In musical or comedy, we have Abbott Elementary, The Bear, The Gentleman. Okay. Hacks, Nobody Wants This, and Only Murders in the Building. How did The Gentleman make it in when it didn't get recognized in anything? Okay.
That's what happens with 6 slots.
Oh, and then I was right. I thought I wasn't dreaming this. In drama of TV series, we have Day of the Jackal, The Diplomat, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Shogun, Slow Horses, and Squid Game Season 2. Publicly releasing December the 26th. So how do they know it's any good? So if they haven't screened it, the hilarious thing is if it turns out that it's absolutely crap. And then it's like, so why did it get a nomination then?
I mean, it wouldn't be the Globes' first time down that road, so.
KPMG's now paying people off. It's brilliant. It gets even more sus. So now, Owen can wake up. Although we are starting with the music stuff. So, in the movie categories, for song, we have Beautiful That Way from The Last Showgirl, aka the Miley Cyrus song. Compress Repress, aka the Nine Inch Nails song from Challengers. El Mal and Mi Camino from Emilia Perez. Forbidden Road, the one I didn't see coming, Robbie's song from Better Man. And then Kiss the Sky from Wild Robot from DeLacy.
Maren Morris, too.
Yeah.
Remember the numbers from Emilia Perez, but I could not tell you which song is which.
Hi, Moana 2 soundtrack.
I'm thrilled
I think
that
El Mal is the one in the room with the one that gets all the plaudits, the one with all the tables. The banquet scene, I guess you want to call it, or whatever.
I'm assuming the other one might be the one with like the wall of faces, maybe.
Mi Camino is Selena Gomez's solo one.
Oh yeah, okay.
After El Mal.
Okay. I'm very psyched that Compress and Repress is here, even though it does continue the trend of end credit songs being.
Although it is also El Mal is notable because it means that Jack Audiard has a record amount of nominations in one day, which we'll get to.
Yeah, he got a lot of love here.
So for score, we have Volker Bertelmann for Conclave, Daniel Blumberg for Brutalist, Chris Bowers for Wild Robot, Clement Ducol and Camille for Emilia Perez, Reznor and Ross for Challengers, and Hans Zimmer for Doom Part 2. I guess the good thing from that list is, I mean, okay, Reznor and Ross have slight past, and Hans Zimmer, legend of the scene. But I feel a lot of the other names are ones that you don't often see get recognition for score, so at least we are mixing it up. Alexander Desplat has slacked, apparently, or something.
Well, let's get this pointless shit out of the way.
Yes, I knew it was going this direction. So yeah, cinematic and box office achievement, which I mean, it's to me it's a two-horse race, but I'll name them all. We have Alien Romulus, Beetlejuice, Deadpool and Wolverine, Gladiator 2, Inside Out 2, Twisters, Wicked Partner, and The Wild Robot. If we're going on the history of, I think this category was in last year, maybe, when I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure it went to Barbie. I can't remember, but
it was the one that was basically Barbie versus the Eras tour.
Yep.
yeah. So with this, it's clearly Deadpool and Wolverine versus the Wicked, as they're the two that are clearly leading the way in terms of US box office as well as international box office in total. I'd argue.
Legitimately will pay people to vote for Wicked in this category.
Which I find stupid because surely it deserves its flowers for two. Especially because that's where we're promised we're getting the original songs. More so. Because I think they said they're doing 2 or 3 for that, which would be original for the movie. Because clearly, again, they want it to get recognised for song, not just score. Also, that being said, I guess because Wicked wouldn't be able to make it in for score because it's just adapting what already exists in terms of the Broadway stuff and everything. So
I my fucking head hurts when I try to think about certain categories musicals can get into.
Right?
Because when you talk about what appears to be the next one we're going to go into, yeah, it gets really touchy about like gore and shit. But when you bring musicals into screenplay categories, to me that gets really messy. Because if you were to separate the screenplay and the songs from Amelia Perez, there's not much of a script there. Which is what I was saying about La La Land that year also. Those are like the prime examples of how do you separate this, especially in La La Land's case, where like, or at least has like a hand in a lot of this, but like where the script and the music and lyrics are written by two completely different sets of people. It gets really, how do you separate a screenplay award from what the real emotion of the movie is? I don't know. What I'm saying is I'm confused that Amelia Perez is here in screenplay.
yeah, Jack Audiard's second nomination, along with Sean Baker for Honora, Bradley Corbet, and Mona Fastvold for The Brutalist. There's more than one person. Jesse Eisenberg for A Real Pain, Coralie Farge for The Substance, and Peter Strawn for Conclave. Bucking the trend of being in the lower half of the alphabet.
Those last three are very strong choices.
100%.
I'm really happy with I think it was literally just in the previous prediction video. I was still afraid The Substance was a lot of wishful thinking. Now, mind you, I'm not jumping the gun, but I will just say I've been pretty happy with its showing thus far.
Don't see a reason that's going to change.
Well, you know how I am with jinxing things.
Yeah. I don't jinx things. I just am wrong. So it's okay.
Then
I'm not wrong.
We jump back to Audiard for nomination number 3, and this time in director for Amelia Perez, along with Sean Baker for Honora, Edward Berger for Conclave, Bradley Corbet for Brutalist, Coralie Farge for Substance, and Payal Kapadia for All We Imagine as Light.
That was a little surprising.
That's going to be the one that everybody that if it goes any further in the Globes, that's going to be the one everyone's going to be questioning on Oscar nomination morning if it goes that far. That's the shock dark horse one that everybody talks about. You were talking about something getting into director that may not necessarily get in the picture, but could get in director and surprise a lot of people, bump out a lot of names that a lot of people think should be there anyway. I'm putting up quote marks. And I really think that Capadias could be your answer to that question right now.
But at the same time, we also have a lot of cases
Close.
where, yeah, I'm thinking of like, I mean, it was inspired, and I was a fan of it when the Globes nominated Ridley Scott for All the Money in the World.
Yeah, I remember that.
How out of left field that was. I mean, it was probably mainly for the replacing Spacey thing, which was, which, you know, not to discredit, was extremely impressive how that was done and how quickly it was done. But yeah, the Globes do tend to throw random people in here. But yeah, this could also totally be a first signal of something. But like I said, I think we've learned a lot over the years to where we stay in place and we think a little bit before we knee-jerk reaction to surprises that are thrown in.
It does help though when you don't have to knee-jerk reaction something you were predicting anyway.
Yeah, because that's the lineup I was predicting, plus the sixth slot of All We Imagine Is Light. So it's interesting to think of like,
yeah, that's my lineup too, actually.
You know, like which one. But then there's also Ramel Ross hanging out.
Yeah.
So it's getting to be a very interesting category that we shouldn't jump to conclusions of how crazy it's going to be just yet. DGA still has to fuck us up somehow. Well, I said when I put Corley in like 2 months ago, I said it would be like maybe not till DGA. I wasn't expecting her to show up this fast.
I'm more comfortable with Corley at this point than, and saying that now, being the beginning of December, I'm more comfortable now than I think I've been just wishful thinking. Now that I'm starting to see actual bodies announcing her name as one of the nominees, it really feels like this isn't a pipe dream anymore. This actually could really happen. And if there is a female director getting in this lineup this year, it's going to be her.
But I do not want to, because obviously one of the first things people are probably going to say is, oh, Ramel Ross is out. There's 6 slots and he didn't make it.
No.
Yeah, he's the one I'm waiting on to cause a stir.
Angold's in this too.
And to be fair, there's always at least 1 or 2 films that the Globes don't seem to recognise at all, but then gets love from basically the rest of them, including, God forbid, Critics' Choice, where it actually gets some relevance again because it puts some stuff that maybe got snubbed by the Globes at least back on the map somewhat.
Plus, every now and then it's a little fishy when the Globes shut something else out entirely, like The Piano Lesson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some people will probably say, "Oh, The Piano Lesson's dead now." It's like, no. Not exactly. I mean, it's not in a very strong place at the moment, anyway. But
if you think it is, Denzel's gonna go all Training Day on your ass.
Yeah, well, at least the Washingtons got something at the Globes.
Yeah,
which we'll get to in a second.
Yeah, because first, for supporting actress.
Yes.
We have both Selena Gomez and Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Felicity Jones for Brutalist, Margaret Qualley for Substance, and Isabella Rossellini for 2 minutes of dialogue and just stares in Conclave.
I don't want to piss off anybody's fan base, but I mean, Gomez and Grande getting in here was always going to happen at the Globes, right?
Sure. Yeah. Especially with the expanded 6.
When you talk about things being a sign, where like, don't jump to any conclusions, don't assume the Globes mean anything at all. And I said sometimes those signs come in. I feel like Rossellini's one of those
For sure.
where it was like, oh, she could get in at the last minute from Passion Votes because of one scene. She could get into like BAFTA and that'll be her whole run. The fact that she made it here on the amount that she has to do in Conclave, it feels like it's telling of something. Like the fact that even the Globes saw that for what it was.
For me, Rossellini, it's sort of three key scenes. One, the bit where she logs into the computer and is just like, I'm going now. Isn't that weird that I've logged into the computer? Two is like the thriller sort of standoff with the door seal and all that, where it's like, is this become an erotic thriller or something? And then the lunchroom scene. That's the best I can describe it. Because then, pretty much, as soon as she's done with the lunchroom scene, she's never seen again. I'm just hoping that, like, when they do get to the bit, they don't go with the, and if she does get the video package showing her stuff, they try and do something where she basically does little to nothing. Like they choose one of the bits where she doesn't say anything because it's just like the presence, just her mannerisms is enough where it's like, yeah, this is why it's supporting actress. In a film that doesn't really have there's like maybe there's only two real main sort of female characters, her and the Nigerian nun. Without going into too much spoilers.
I basically, this supporting actress lineup for the Globes is my Oscar lineup. And I'm sure it's a lot of people's Oscar lineups at this point. And I'm very happy. I don't care if there's 6 nominations instead of 5. I'm very happy Margaret Qualley's here. I really do. Really very happy she's here. Because Demi Moore deserves this win. Not nomination, deserves this win. But at the end of the day, Margaret Qualley deserves a nomination. Because there is no Monstro Eliza Sue without Sue. And she has to do a lot of heavy lifting in the third act, too. Just as much, if not more, than Demi does. So I'm glad to see her get recognition. Do I think it's going to go further than this? It depends on how much they take to it. But if they don't, then the only thing you really can do, if this could potentially be your Oscar 5, the people that are on the chopping block would be Rossellini and Gomez, because I don't see Zoe Saldana going anywhere. And I hear so many things about Felicity Jones that she seems kind of solidified right now. Then again, I say kind of. I'm not saying specifics. But Rossellini seems like she's in this. So it's like, it's crazy to think what this season's going to be like this season. There's so many questions, and we're not even in January yet. That's what's fun about the award season. Until it becomes boring and then everything starts winning that you know is going to win and then you don't care anymore. But at the end of the day, right now, we've got so much hope of what could possibly be. And our 5 very easily feel like they could be in this Globe lineup. One way, shape, or form.
I've just realized. I mean, I know it's looking ahead to the Oscars, but imagine how Gaga's going to feel when Grande gets an acting Oscar before her.
What the thing that keeps jumping back into my head is looking at the Globes and who is here and then who might show up at SAG and BAFTA, and then remembering that the person that got the 5th slot in supporting actress last year only had Critics' Choice.
Yep. Right.
Now, mind you, she did have the scene that became like this whole cultural impact thing. I still don't get that nomination. I've seen Barbie again since the Oscar nominations came out last year, and I don't.
I've been an America Ferrera guy since day one, so I'm ride or die when it comes to her, and I was very happy to have predicted that. Unlike most people.
Zoe Saldana has the cultural bit of the year as well. Man to woman, penis to vagina.
I mean, I was also the one in the last video saying I think Grande will be one of the gigantic snubs that nobody ever shuts the fuck up about.
How you feel about that right now?
I'm just thinking about quality, honestly.
I want that spot so bad. I want her in this race. I really do, but I hate the fact. I mean, we could bump Felicity Jones out. That'd be fine.
But I have to, because I was afraid I was being too optimistic about The Substance because I just love the movie so much, and the fact that everybody's talking about it still.
Yes.
And how, like, that's going to be one of those things that you can just, like, reference, and a lot of movie fans will know what you're talking about.
Yes.
It'll just be one of those things. And it had a very good showing here. But I'm also
crazy to think, given the circumstances.
I'm also trying to prepare my mind for any possibility. You know how much I have it in my predictions already. So you know I'm not saying something right now. I'm just saying you always have to be prepared for another possibility.
That's nothing.
There's so many cases where movies get a lot of stuff leading in, and then for whatever reason on nominations morning they fucking blank.
Yep.
Like the first one jumping out at me is remember how much a lot of people in various places were predicting Gone Girl?
Yep.
And Pike was the only one.
Yep.
And sometimes they blank completely. And I'm just really hoping it's not one of those.
I don't think The Substance has any chance of being American Hustle.
Like, what if it's like you know another movie that did this, which I'm just about to bring up. Remember how we really shifted on House of Gucci after its SAG performance?
Yep.
And it got one nomination for makeup.
Well, I mean, you have to believe, no matter if you want to play devil's advocate, that The Substance getting in makeup pretty much seems like a foregone conclusion. So it's at least getting one nomination. I think more is getting in. I think they can't resist having a female director.
See, that's what I've been saying. I was saying that 2 months ago.
Same.
But yeah.
But I've also had more push towards it too.
I also feel it's a lock to get a nod for original screenplay. I would have thought.
It's almost like it overperforming at the Globes has actually made me nervous about it.
That's understandable.
But yeah.
And we move on.
Yes.
So yeah, supporting actor, we have Yura Borisov for Anora, Kieran Culkin for Real Pain, Edward Norton for Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce for Brutalist, Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice, and Denzel Washington for Gladiator 2. God damn it.
I had 2 requests going into this category, and they both happened.
Yep. Good.
Here's the thing. I'm not sure what to do about this Anora guy.
Yeah. Hopefully it falls away.
Because like I said, I'm, for personal reasons, I have no intentions of giving this movie my money. But it's another thing of, like, when I have a personal bias against a movie, it's like I don't want to hold it, like with Simon Rex.
Yeah, of course.
Where I was really happy for Simon Rex to get a lead role.
As a person, you were happy for Simon Rex.
Yeah. Same for Mikey Madison and this guy. Where it's like I can't begrudge them whatever they get. And because I've seen a lot of people talk about, like, this guy from Anora. Like, when the movie first came out, people were talking, before it was even award season yet.
Yeah.
people were talking like when it was at Cannes, people were like, this guy. And it's like when I hear that, I don't know if I'm pushing it away because the category is so packed and there's so many possibilities. I didn't even have Guy Pearce in.
Nope.
When I did mine this past prediction video. And it's like I'm trying to make sure it's not me wanting the movie to fail somewhere.
I mean,
but
that's your
job. That's what you do.
Darn right.
You're the one that has no problem booing on nominations morning.
I do not.
Like when something gets in that I don't want there, I just try to no sell it.
Yeah, that's fair. I can't do that.
Especially when it's this personal of a grudge.
That's fair.
But yeah, it's really interesting all the directions the Globes went here, because I was on the Jeremy Strong thing.
Yes.
I put him in, and then it was like, well, you kind of talked me. Like I'm still talked out of it right now. He could be like, remember, there's two different things. There's two different danger zones in supporting actor. You're either Charles Melton and you get as far as here and you make it, and you're like, oh, I'm here, this is great, this is awesome, and then you stop at the Globes.
Yep.
Another danger zone would be to be Daniel Bruhl for Rush, where you go all the fucking way. You go through SAG, you go through Globe, you go through SAG, you go through BAFTA, you go through everything, and they still fuck you.
Yep.
So when I look at like Norton's
a big deal.
But that's the thing, is like, when you look at a lot of Globes past, there's a lot of random, especially in supporting, there's a lot of random nominees where it's like, oh, it's cool that person got in here, especially since they weren't in the rest of the season. And right now, Norton feels like a random Globe thing, but there's a lot of people in this category. It's really, that's not helping anything.
Also, think about the fact there's no conclave love whatsoever in supporting actor at the Globes.
And it's hard, and we have no gauge on Jackson right now because they took out the piano lesson entirely. So if Jackson were to miss SAG, then I might finally say I'm going against Jackson. But once again, we've just with the House of Gucci thing, we know that SAG lies too. So it all comes down to it's a guessing game. It's a guessing game, guys.
It's still happy to see things that you wanted and you've predicted actually before your eyes. It's not the Oscars yet, but I mean, it's nice to see this stuff. And I would love Jeremy Strong to get nominated. I really would. Yeah. I love this to start now and there's just to continue.
That's it. All I was asking for was, even though Culkin's in the wrong category.
Oh my God, yes.
Knowing that's where he's campaigning, I'm still asking for him. And even though it may seem like, oh, they just give him everything. No, like genuinely. Everybody who's been here knows the Denzel mark that I am.
This is correct.
So it's like, yeah, I really, especially for this performance, I wanted Denzel here. And I'm glad to see that. And I hope he goes all the way.
I'm okay with that.
Then we'll go to the musical or comedy stuff first. So for actress in musical or comedy, we have Amy Adams for Nightbit, Symphony of Revo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon for Amelia Perez, Mikey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore for Substance, and Zendaya Izmichi for Challengers.
I was so pleasantly surprised by this, not just because Challengers is my favorite movie of the year and she's the star of it and she's amazing in it. When I was watching the announcement, I was dead set on the sixth slot was going to be June Squibb.
Oh, I'm so glad that didn't happen.
I genuinely did not see Zendaya coming.
so happy that didn't happen. Oh my God.
I figured you would be.
I almost want to say it. I hate Thelma so much. Oh my God. I don't know what it is about it. I thought the trailer was obnoxious. Thought the movie was absolutely horrid. And I am completely in the minority about this.
I'm surprised you held back on this when we did the Spirit Awards.
I want to do I told you so here. That's nice. Um, no, I love Nebraska, and I like June Squibb as an actress, but for some reason, Thelma just rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know what it was. It was like if something happened and you mixed Melissa McCarthy back in the day with Betty White and how over like how
You
absolutely
mean
nice she is, and put it into one character.
you don't mean Melissa McCarthy back in the day. You mean Melissa McCarthy anytime
That's
she's in a
fair,
movie
but that's
directed
what
by
I'm
her
referring
husband.
to.
Because that's still happening, unfortunately.
Yeah, not not when you're me. They don't. No. It's like faith-based movies; they go completely unseen with me.
So I've just noticed what Denzel's doing next. So in between promoting the piano teacher, he's prepping for Othello
Yeah,
with
that's
Jake
right.
Gyllenhaal as Iago as well.
Yeah.
And then in between that, releasing some point in the spring via A24 and then on Apple Plus. Spike Lee apparently wants to do another remake. We saw how well it worked with bloody Old Boy. Remaking High and Low.
I have more faith in this one than I don't I'm having a hard time imagining this would be another old boy scenario. I feel like this could be something.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm hoping, considering it's more of a crime thriller thing, it sort of does feel like it's got the potential to be in more Inside Man
Yeah, I was gonna say
in style.
most people think of Spike Lee doing like these, politically relevant movies and stuff like that. Spike Lee's an excellent crime director. And the way he evoked like the 70s crime movies with Black Klansman is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like Inside Man, like a combination of that, like yeah, I would I have hope.
Then for actor in a musical comedy, we have Jesse Eisenberg for A Real Pain, Hugh Grant for Heretic. I mean, I guess it's black comedy. I'd get it if it was Paddington in Peru. Um, oh wait, shouldn't have said that. Gabriel LaBelle for Saturday Night, Jesse
So
Plemons for
awesome.
Kinds of Kindness, Glenn Powell for Hitman. Yes, and Sebastian Stan for A Different Man. We'll get to him later.
This category is great.
My two favorite leading actor performances of the year are right there next to each other in the comedy category. I was saying this is another one where I can't remember if we had this conversation on or off air. It might, if you haven't seen A Different Man, it might be jarring that they put it under comedy.
Mm-mm.
The last, there are funny moments in A Different Man.
Yes,
That's another good cinematic cat, by the way.
that's a good point.
The last 10 or 15 minutes of A Different Man are some of the funniest scenes of the year.
Absolutely.
in the most unexpected way.
And I'll go to bat for Jesse Plemons here because he is absolutely solid in anything he did in Kinds of Kindness. He's had a good year too. Honestly.
Did you say Plemons or Eisenberg? I know you mean Plemons because you said Kinds of Kindness, but
Yeah, I said Plemons.
Okay, I might have misheard. My mind was set for Eisenberg. I think that's what
Fair. Yeah, Jesse Plemons has had a great year between that and his role where he's basically Jim Gaffigan in Civil War. Needless to say.
Don't forget he won Cannes for Kinds of Kindness as well.
Yes, I'm very happy that's here. Speaking of very happy, I'm here. Gabriel LaBelle, welcome to the conversation.
Yes.
About freaking time.
Yes. I think we said before we need Gabriel LaBelle to play all of the powerful creative people in Hollywood.
Yes. We need this in our lives. I don't have any. I can't say anything about Glenn Powell, but I like him as an actor a lot. Obviously, I really love Twisters and Anyone But You, and I've heard great things, like crazy great things from everybody here on the show about Hitman. So if it would not be a streaming movie, I would finally be able to see it. But
I mean,
yeah,
you
can't
haven't
go wrong with this category at all.
You haven't seen Glenn Powell until you see him do what is essentially a Tilda Swinton impression. And that's basically what it is.
The way you're talking about Hitman, it makes me think that Glenn Powell is basically John Cena as an actor.
Just in this movie alone, he plays like 20 different characters.
Sounds fun.
It's incredible.
And then
we get to the category I have absolutely nothing I can talk about.
For Best Drama Actress, Pamela Anderson for The Last Show Girl, Angelina Jolie for Maria, Nicole Kidman for Baby Girl, Tilda Swinton for The Room Next Door, Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here, and Kate Winslet for Lee, which I still find that the amazing stat. Kate Winslet is the youngest nominee out of these 6.
Good Lord.
So she is the baby of the lot.
So, and when you said you don't have comment on this, neither do I, or I imagine anybody else, because pretty much none. Lee is out, and Maria will be on. Maria will be on Netflix tomorrow.
She does a good job.
Lee was literally here, and I didn't see it because it was one of those weeks that I wasn't able to check it out.
I just know this was a picture that a friend sent me. I don't know if this was like her theater or if this was like a viral picture floating around. I'm not sure. It was a picture. Have you seen Lee's poster?
I have.
It was Lee's poster next to a poster for The Room. And her and Tommy Wiseau.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
The resemblance is a kind of uncanny between those two posters.
What a story, Lee Miller.
Yeah.
So obviously, so Lee is already out. Maria's on Netflix tomorrow. None of these.
Next Door's been at least released in the UK, and that's a very good performance from her. I'm pretty sure the other 3, in terms of Last Show Girl, Baby Girl, and I'm Still Here, are
Baby Girl's Christmas.
But over here they're January, so that I'll be waiting for them for a while.
Oh yeah, it says.
I don't think Last Show Girl has a released. I've seen a trailer for it, but I've not. It doesn't have a release date. It has it coming soon at the end of it.
For I'm Still Here, it says it got a 1-week awards qualifying run in November and is set to open in New York and LA on January 17th before expanding on Valentine's Day.
Jesus.
So that's a
long... hope it doesn't do anything, or I'm not going to be able to see it.
Hang on, I'm just trying to see if that's a good idea.
Speaking of things I'm going to talk about seeing in a minute.
Because part of me... Oh, wait. Bridget Jones isn't coming out in the cinemas for you guys like it is here.
No,
but it does mean it's going up against the Captain America movie.
Not New World Order?
And the...
It'll never be called anything else.
And Scott Derrickson's thing, although that's probably just going to go on Apple TV Plus rather than go in cinemas, because that's how Apple works. So for actor, we have Adrian Brody for Brutalist, Timothée Chalamet for Complete Unknown, Daniel Craig for Queer, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, Ray Fiennes for Conclave, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. He did the Daily Double.
Let's give a shout out to Sing Sing's only nomination,
which is amazing in itself. Yeah.
How is this a thing?
I mean, I said some things about Sing Sing in the last video. I don't know if you want to take that to heart, what I said, but I said that.
Certainly not. I ain't giving up on it. Not yet.
I think what's interesting is that it's missing from screenplay. They could easily be in Amelia Perez's spot. But they fucking loved Amelia Perez. Good
Yeah,
God, did
clearly.
they love Amelia Perez.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I understand why Rafe is getting the recognition that he is as well, because,
Yes.
dear Lord, Lawrence's character is so complicated because partly you understand the the trials and tribulations he's going through, but at the same time you are thinking, as Tucci's character does, is he actually doing a power play and he's reverse psychologying it because he wants to be Pope? It's just that he needs the sort of the push from somebody to sort of give him the confidence to go, yeah, I can be Pope, damn it.
I'll give them credit for this category. Once again, it's my Oscar lineup with an extra person. And my fifth person that I've been talking about for the longest time, I finally have a frame of reference about. So it'd be the time that I get to talk about the fact that I got to see Queer the other day.
Ooh, queer discussion.
It's interesting, to say the least. It feels like a Luca movie. It really does. In every way possible, from the credits to the trailer to the badass Reznor and Ross soundtrack.
I've noticed even the font on the poster screams Guadagnino.
God, there is. I don't remember what it's called.
I just realised
the Nirvana.
It's a pretty good year for Reznor and Ross because,
oh God,
well, Ross also did the soundtrack for Shogun. So they've got 3 awards contenders across both TV and movie.
them walking around the town to the Nirvana soundtrack is it's just awesome. It's a great visual. Anybody that knows me knows my phobia. Doesn't have to do with the blah blah. It has to do with. So needless to say, hey, we're almost 3 hours into the show. I'm gonna make noise now. The thing is, I get it. I guess why Daniel Craig's here wouldn't be my choice. Not to say Queer's a bad movie. It's not. It's an interesting narrative that it's pretty grounded for a while, and then we get to South America, then all hell breaks loose. Like literally.
I've heard the second half got pretty weird.
It is a nightmare acid trip, to say the least. It's Burroughs. What do you expect? And I should have realized that when I was going into the movie. When I saw that name pop up on the screen, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That checks out. I don't know if Craig's going to go further than this, but he might. It just really depends. The role is good, but it seems like it's missing something. I don't know what it is. It's a very passionate movie. Obviously, the scenes are played for that exact context, and it's Lucas. So what do you expect? I mean, obviously, he's very humane director that likes to direct like the human, like right in your face. Like you're gonna like take this. Like here's the full frontal nudity you're waiting for. So you just got to deal with it because it's right at the doorstop. The thing is, it's fine. It's just it's not going to be a movie for everybody, and I don't think it's going to go further than Craig if it's anybody else. But and I would put other people in this spot for sure. But I mean, I'm okay with it being there. Honestly, I'm just happy. Again, this feels like a broken record. I'm just happy Sebastian Stan's here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say that continuously. I'm happy that Chalamet, Domingo, and Fiennes are here, and Brody's there. He's here. He's still hanging on. Obviously, he's probably a lot more in this than I give him credit for. So, especially because everybody seems to love the Brutalist, at least in the early aspects of the season. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I just wanted to give a little bit of a commentary on Queer as a movie, and why Daniel Craig should or shouldn't be in this lineup. Of course, it's not me to say that, but I mean, my thoughts, no, but I understand it.
So I just noticed Reznor and Ross are going to have just as crazy a 2025 because they're both are doing the score for Scott Derrickson's Gorge, along with the Tron sequel, Tron Ares, and then Luca Guadagnino's new thriller, which I never thought I'd see the day where I see a Luca film with Julia Roberts in possibly the lead.
I'm extremely intrigued by
this screams Oscar. It just does, just by
and
the title.
Debiri and Andrew Garfield and the legend that is Michael Stuhlbarg.
Yes.
And Chloe Sevigny as well, I think is very underrated.
That cast in a Luca movie, I just need it now. I've been craving that movie for I feel like months since that cast list was dropped.
And then we go from this wonderful conversation about actor to film not in the English language.
Which I'm trying to work out if I want to say this has happened once before since they changed all the restrictions. Because in non-English language, we have all we imagine as Amelia from France, India, Netherlands, Luxembourg, and Italy. They added a different country from the other one. What the hell? Amelia Perez from France, The Girl with the Needle from Poland, Sweden, and Denmark. I'm Still Here from Brazil, Seed of a Sacred Fig, which is US and Germany, and Vermiglio from Italy. I'm trying to remember whether last year we also had a non-English that made it into the mains. Because, of course, there was the big notoriety a couple of years back with Parasite not being allowed to be in...
the Zone of Interest got in last year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember... Hang on, where's the... God, I've got to keep scrolling for the Golden Globes. There it is. Oh, no, it did get nominated for Motion Picture Drama, as well as winning, non-English language. So we do have precedent. It's not just that, but...
I think they did away with that weird rule after they try to revamp.
Yeah, which makes sense. Then the animated list, which looks pretty strong, which is Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Moana 2, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The World Robot. I feel one of the two Disneys is getting kicked out. And I can't.
I mean, there's only one answer to that, Ashley. Come on, it's definitely Moana.
It should be Moana, but part of me just wonders whether it's dunking on Pixar continuing.
No, honestly, Inside Out 2 was actually really enjoyed by the people that saw it. I loved it, but I mean, obviously, I liked the first one too. But I mean, universally, Inside Out is a better movie than Moana when it comes to the sequels.
And then to the big two. For musical or comedy, we have Anora, Challengers, Amelia Perez, A Real Pain, The Substance, and Wicked.
Oh yeah, Substance being here.
So Challengers being in here.
Yeah,
something that was supposed to be in the season 12 months ago that got delayed and, shows up in April. For it to still linger around to, okay, if it's number 6, get that 6th spot is great to see.
Challenger, Substance, Wicked, A Real Pain. I'm super excited about that for sure.
I was just gonna say, if you saw my top 5 right now, 4 of them of my top 5 are spread out between comedy and drama here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And yeah, speaking of drama, we have Brutalist, Complete Unknown, Conclave, Doom Part 2, Nickel Boys, and September 5.
I'm happy September 5's here. Very happy. After seeing it last night, yeah, believe it. Believe the hype, it's real. You got a while before you can see it, but I mean, if you get a chance to, definitely go out and see it.
Is that it?
No Sing Sing here either. That's another thing that's kind of disheartening about. I mean, maybe AJ's right. We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I still have it in picture. It's just like 9th or 10th.
It's fair.
Yeah, so quickly to the other little comments that we've got. Smurfy says, "Does anyone have Demi and Quali in both lineups at the same time? Because they're in mine. I think
I
we
never
all
pulled the
pretty much
trigger
did
on
on the last
Quali.
month. I think."
I never pull the trigger on Quali, even though above anybody on this panel, I should. For
I'm
reasons.
more.
And
I'm more.
but I've always had more.
I've had more the past couple of times, I think, and I'm starting to open my mind to Quali.
Yes.
It's just a matter of who it's at the expense of.
The only person that makes it, there's only two people it possibly could be based in my lineup, and I don't. I have to see the Brutalist first before I can make my decision.
Do we know when SAG's nominations are?
Damn.
If they were before our next prediction video, that would be fantastic.
Considering the fact our next
are
prediction video looks like
declaring January the 8th.
Nope. Missed it by that much.
They're being late as all hell. The DGAs, I think, are the 7th and the 8th, because I think the 7th is the documentary, and then the first time in the main DGA award is on the 8th. We have the documentary for the PGA announced today, and then animated and main feature will get revealed on January the 10th, and then WGA on January the 9th. So we're pretty much getting all the guilds in the space of 2 to 3 days in terms of nominations. So I'm not saying we're going to be doing some sort of prediction or some sort of reaction thing the week after we talk about the Globes, but you know.
Yes.
They really want to pack them together. God damn it. Josie says, "I too thought his Three Daughters was fantastic. I'd love nods for Natasha and original screenplay. And Lizzie Olsen and Carrie Coon were really good as well." The important question has been asked: how is Scoot McNairy in Night Bitch?
He's fine. He's got some decent stuff. Like midway through, it's basically a story pretty much about a mother and their child. Hence why the name for Amy Adams' character is just simply Mother. So, he's important and he's fine in it, and he's got some funny stuff in like the middle portion of the movie. But yeah, this is basically Amy Adams and probably one of the cutest children that I've seen on camera. Honestly, like the characters are just adorable, the way that they react and everything. So I just like the camaraderie they have as.
And don't worry, Josie, you can come back to us in a month and then ask us as how he was as Woody Guthrie in A Complete Unknown.
Oh my God, yes, absolutely. We'll definitely have that conversation.
The scoop continues.
I can't freaking wait.
Josie says that she agrees with you, AJ, about the combined genders category being counterproductive.
Helps no one.
Since AJ is wearing a Squidward shirt, Bryce says, I want to mention that during the Macy's Thanksgiving parade, because of the anniversary, Tom Kenny himself made an appearance as Patchy the Pirate and actually got to speak on the NBC telecast. Josie says they're pushing everyone in September 5 category in supporting, but given how thin lead actor seems to be, I wonder if the Academy could do a Lakeith Stanfield style and have Skarsgård or Magaro suddenly get into lead.
I mean, it'd definitely be category fraud, but if you want to go that route, honestly, both of them could be campaigned as lead technically, because they're both extremely crucial to the movie and they're pretty much in the entire thing. So I see where you're coming from there. I'd be okay with a nomination for either one of them, honestly.
Well, Stanfield was leading, and they forced him into supporting. I feel like it's a lot harder to do it the other way around.
Also correct.
Also, we're trying to get the wrong Skarsgård in lead actor. If how crazy his performance is being described as by the reviews I've seen for Nosferatu.
I think people might be jumping the gun on Nosferatu as like an awards contender, but I don't doubt the movie's going to be good.
I'd also love a fight between Katie O'Brien's character and Mr. Melancholy.
Oh, real quick, I don't. Again, I hate to bury the lead here, but Leonie Beniche, I believe is her name. She's also a main star in September 5, and I don't want to discount her performance either because she is extremely crucial to the movie as well. She's a supporting performance for sure, but I mean, I definitely don't want to discredit her performance in the movie.
She was the one from
White Ribbon.
What? I'm missing the middle word. The Teacher movie.
Teacher's Lounge, yes.
Teacher's Lounge. Okay, yes, that was it. I was thinking the blank something teacher, but it's like the teacher's. Okay, got it.
No, it's not. What was it? When you say that, now I'm thinking of the one that Maggie was in. Was it the English teacher?
The kindergarten teacher.
Yeah, kindergarten teacher.
She was in the kindergarten teacher. Julianne Moore was in the English teacher, and then there's also one that's just called A Teacher.
Yeah. Bryce saying Emily Stone. Tell that to the people writing on Wiki.
It's Butera.
And
Remember
also
that.
in the actual press releases off their own websites. Apparently they don't want Emily to exist either. Josie asks you, AJ, have you seen Corbet's first feature, Childhood of a Leader?
I haven't.
Okay.
I think the only other of his I've seen that he directed was the Portman one.
Then the interesting one that I wasn't aware of, I don't know whether I want to look it up as to whether it's true. Josie says the Brutalist has a popcorn bucket.
That's something that's going to hang around for a long time at a local Cineplex if that's a real thing.
Surely that can't be a real thing, can it?
Bryce says I did a nomination prediction on his channel through the Awards Expert app and got 65 out of 92 and wow, 65 out of 92 and it was like the bottom 25%. Too many people are cheating. That's what I'm saying. I missed on Ain't No Love in Oklahoma from Twisters, El Camino from Amelia Perez, and Like a Bird from Sing Sing. Score, I miss Room Next Door over Doom Part Duh. I'll leave the rest of them, Bry, because, we've gone a fair length and whatever. Although I will say he went perfect on animated and musical comedy, but missed Room Next Door and Sing Sing over Nickel Boys and September 5 for the drama category.
Yeah, we love hearing from the chat. We also don't want to beat the Brutalist in lane.
Yeah.
Those are the Horror Nights podcast from back in the day. Go check those out if you want to listen to me talk for 8 hours.
A brief poke in the door from Parsnip Burger saying, I didn't know you were live or would have been here. I've missed your awards coverage. Well, don't worry.
We're back.
It's near weekly again. It's happening. Any controversies or movies that you guys hate? I don't know if that means this year or... Oh, I'm trying to think.
What was it, the question?
Any controversies or
movies you guys
that you hate?
Controversies or movies? Not for movies. Or movies.
Yeah.
I feel like those are two completely different questions.
Yeah, I was trying to think. I still find it interesting the blanket sort of not acknowledging the woman in Gladiator 2 that was supposed to be sort of a pivotal
Oh
lead
yeah.
actress that became basically window dressing, which had no sort of nobody dares commit to it because of the Israel-Palestine political issue.
Ah, okay. Parsnip is alluding to like the movie I don't talk about was a controversial thing and a hated thing.
If I say it quick enough, it sounds like one of your favorite movies. Yo!
Eric, oh. I have an answer to this, and I think as the season progresses, you're probably going to be able to figure it out. I'll just put it that way. Sometimes you just hate a movie, not
I mean,
necessarily
maybe to
because of
some
what you're seeing,
extent.
but everything, everywhere, all at once.
I'd say to some extent as well, what could have been with Joker.
I like Joker, and I'll defend it. I don't care.
Oh,
I
sorry,
will
I forgot. That was that. I think for you guys it went straight to DVD, but for some reason over here we got a cinema release of bloody Hellboy the Crooked Man. Dear God.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking for something that's guilty pleasure. I am still desperate that somebody tries to take the bait and put Michael Flatley's bloody Blackbird on some sort of streaming thing, so
Here we go
everybody
again.
can still wonder what the hell he did.
Trying to think if there's another answer I can give that's not as a hot of a take as the answer I want to give. See if there's another thing I hated a lot this year that I hated this year. Weirdly enough, I feel like most of the stuff I've watched this year I've enjoyed or tolerated. I don't have like sheer vitriol towards many things this year. Well, I do, but again, we'll get there as the award season progresses, especially if this BS continues. So.
Oh, Parsnip said, I hope you hate Wicked.
Dear God, no.
What I hate is now apparently people being given free reign to just sing at it. Because as somebody that has... That's the reason why I don't want to see it in the cinema right now. Because, spoilers, I've never seen any version of Wicked.
Neither did I
in
when I
any
went
shape
into
or
it.
form. So I don't want to be ruined by people singing over the top of it unless it's a sing-along version. Because if I've got somebody sort of, 3 rows behind me that's sort of doing a decent but, not going to be the quality that Ariana or Cynthia are going to do, it's going to disturb the performance,
You don't have to worry about that. I watched it in a sold-out Dolby Cinema with only 2 seats next to me that were for handicap accessibility. So nobody sang during that one. And there is a sing-along version that's coming out here in the States on Christmas. So if people want to sing, they'll go to that one. And most of them know of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very, very excited to be able to learn those lyrics and sing with everyone else. Just like I wish that we would have had a Rent sing-along version back in the day, but we never got that either. I created my own. AJ knows about this.
I mean, both of those do have somebody in common, so.
Yes. Literally. Parsnip says Amelia Perez is hated by some too, but I don't want Ariana to win the Oscar.
I mean, if you ask me, I'll tell you she's got to get nominated first.
Anyone
I
else
don't know.
from Wicked or even Wicked can win, but just as long as it's not her.
To be fair, if they're going to give Cynthia the Oscar, it's going to be for 2, not for 1.
Even though, well, I mean, it makes sense that, well, from what I understand, Defying Gravity is the song that closes out Act 1
It
anyway.
is, and now we
So-
have an intermission that lasts a shoot year. Enjoy it. It's going to be actually less than The Brutalist. Somehow.
That's why I'm sort of waiting. I might wait until next year because then I'll just see it in a double bill, and then it will just be like an extended version of the Broadway play.
I mean, like how I watched the Terrifier movies.
Which thankfully got in some places re-released in cinemas.
Christmas
To coincide
re-release
with the
coming in the
Christmas deal.
States on Christmas Eve. You can already buy tickets right now.
I'm still pissed I'm not going to be able to see Interstellar 5555 this bloody weekend.
I'd love to see it in IMAX. That'd be fantastic, but I just don't have a way to make it work.
Yeah. So yeah, we're verging on Wolf of Wall Street territory.
I've officially fallen asleep during this if this was an actual movie.
Wolf of Wall
times.
Wolf of Wall Street's exactly 3 hours, so we passed Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, okay.
We're in Titanic territory now.
I was trying to remember. There was something recently that was like 3 hours 10 minutes. I was trying to remember.
What you talking about, Willis? AJ knows.
On that bombshell. So yeah, tentatively we're going to be back in 7 days because that's when we're getting, I think, Oscar shortlists along with the Critics' Choice, so we might amalgamate them too.
Yeah, why not?
Because then that's everything covered. Because, as we discussed, all the guilds are going to be sort of first, second week in January, which I think is in or around the same time that... Oh no, BAFTA long list is January 3rd, but the nominations are going to be the week after that. And then... Oh wow, there's only going to be a 2-day difference between BAFTA nominations and Oscar nominations. Okay. Well, that might get interesting. Wait, we're doing Oscar nominations on a Friday? I need to verify this. Anyway, but yeah. Fun. Or something.
All right. So, everyone, thanks for joining us tonight. Whether live or in archive, we had a lively chat like we always do, and we thank you all for joining us this evening. AJ's movie reviews versus any content AJ has is going to be coming back to the channel. So prepare for that down the line. We don't have a specific date yet, but we know that there are things that are coming.
You're speaking bluntly. It's coming. I'm like 50 minutes into If.
Jesus.
I'm right now. I'm just anticipating her leading a Spielberg movie that shoots in February. That was fun to learn recently. her and Josh O'Connor leading a Spielberg movie.
I've just checked on the Oscars' own website. Yeah, Oscar nominations are on a Friday for the first time in, I want to say, ever.
That's gonna be a weird day.
Considering how it's always been like Mondays or Tuesdays for the past however many years that we've been doing this.
Ever.
Yeah.
I always have to take the day off or don't. I don't take the day off. Just depends on the day. Friday I won't have to take the day off.
Movies that are only getting showing that one time or whatever, and it's going to clash with the nominations.
Yep. That's what I'm prepared for. Amelia Perez, I'm looking at you. You're going to be my problem this year, I can tell already. Ashley can be found on the network at Ash is my name UK on social media, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Who cares? Either way, you can still check him out on social media. We have gaming content. We have snack stashes coming in the near future. All that's still to come.
Yeah, I need to get that backlog of all the McDonald's stuff up probably soon. Try and get up most of it for the end of Christmas. Or before Christmas comes, I should say.
It's fair. Parsec, to answer your question, yeah, I ain't going anywhere. There's no reason ever to leave this place unless something happens, and nope, not right now. So needless to say, I'm happily living here in sunny, now a little bit chilly Orlando, Florida, forevermore. So yes, that's your show for today. Like I said, more Sip Snacks, more Voices content. I got a lot of videos backlogged that you haven't seen yet, and you eventually will. So I don't know what the schedule is going to be like in 2025. I guess we'll see if we go back to like a couple times a week. Daily, no, not a thing. But we will be giving you a little more content so we can give back to the people that are sticking with us throughout the time, through award season, and then some, of course, into the rest of the regular content here on the channel. So that's the show. Of course, obviously, I said goodbye to the Eras Tour a couple days ago without having gone. So very emotional about that. But I buy merchandise and it makes me feel better. It's called retail therapy for a reason, everyone. So that being said, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. Go check out a movie, no matter what it is, and let us know what your thoughts and comments and opinions are on the nominations and reactions, snubs, surprises, anything you want to talk about. Leave a comment below, and check out our other content here on this network. Lots of playlists. Check those out. Ashley content, AJ content. Chris will be back here in 2025, so we got more stuff with him coming in the future too. So lots of things. Stay tuned. More content on the network. That being said, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. Make sure you always have the best day ever. It is the season after all. And until next time, boys and girls, that's all we have to say about that.